First up, 1821 man-made. Ooh, I love the grit on the side of this thing. Really matches the theme of these old 87 cars. The orange is a Halloween-themed event. This looks sharp. Across the board, I love the wood paneling both on the side and on the hood of this race car. Then you got the classic NASCAR red, yellow, and blue bars, slashes. I don't know what they call them, but this looks really, really clean. I love this. AE engine helping put this event on. I love the lightning bolts on the back there. The 57, something about that just seems a little eerie. It seems kind of spooky to me. I love the colors and I love the electricity. All South Electrical, probably seen them on Jeremy Clement's car in the Xfinity Series this year. This is also an electric scheme. I did not mean to do these back to back. That is totally a coincidence. I love a pretty blue. This fits the bill. This looks great. Auto Park It on the 25. This will be driven by Lawless Allen, real world NASCAR Truck Series driver. Looks great. I love yellow door numbers. I always have, even going back to like Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson. Yellow door numbers. I'm a fan. And that is kind of a Hendrick style 25 font. Coincidence? I think not. Auto Repair VIN stickers. Ooh, I like purple. I love the purple door number in front of like the full moon. Really embracing the spooky, groovy, hollow Halloween spirit. This is nice. Kind of reminds me of Frankenstein's monster or Gravedigger, or I guess purple green, the Incredible Hulk. It's not as Halloween themed, kind of. I don't know. It works. Brand South Africa, beautiful race car right here. We've seen them on JD Motorsports as a contingency sponsor over the course of this season. Great to have them involved, and this is a very nice looking scheme reminiscent of the South African flag. Bring It On Cleaner number 1. Look at the creative door number design. I like this quite a bit. This actually looks like a scheme that would have run back in the 1980s. And the orange window net. I didn't know you could even do that. That looks really, really cool. It ties the whole thing together. Jump and carry on the number 11 car. Look at the swooping red and white decal going over the across the side up onto the C post and B post as well. Looks very good on that old Chevy. Super clean. I like it. Don Pablo Coffee. Oh my gosh, I love the coffee beans all over the front nose. Looks like this car is raced in dirt or just raced through a used coffee filter. This looks awesome. I love the commitment. Yeah, when I see this, these colors, that design on the front, I think coffee. So well done. Forney, yes, bringing the green machine onto the racetrack. Nice looking Ford Thunderbird right here. I love the design on the side, and that white 62 and the white Forney logo really stand out nicely. So this is a good one. This looks like a very modern paint scheme, which still works on these old 87 style bodies. Fort Worth Screen Printing, gotten to work with them some this year. I love this paint scheme. I like the kind of reddish maroon almost and yellow. I think those colors work really, really well together. It looks like someone took a paintbrush and just swooped right across the door, even got onto the roof and the ABNC posts. This looks really great, and I think the Fort Worth logo will pop on that white, clean hood. Garage Oil Spirits. Oh, look at the hood design on this thing. I love the gradient, love the different colors, and the wings going across the front nose over behind the front tires. This car quite literally looks like it could fly. Hopefully it's flying out on the racetrack tomorrow night. This looks really, really sharp. I like it. Habana Brisa, giving me some Miami Beach party vibes here. Got the beautiful ocean beach on the side, some nice palm trees sort of silhouetted there on the left front. I'm sure on the right front as well if I have an angle of that. I like it. I'm a sucker for that light blue and pink. It gives me like 90s vibes. I know this race takes place in 1987, but I don't know. This still speaks to me as someone who I guess was born in the 90s. I still have some memories of that era of colorways and color schemes. Iggy's Sports Cars. This is a perfect example of less is more. Orange and navy. Yes, I'm not ashamed to admit it. I am an Astros fan, so that's giving me some good vibes, making me happy going into the World Series. The white trim, in a lot of ways, with the number 9, this reminds me of some of those old Bill Elliott schemes from back in the day. He too drove a Ford Thunderbird just like this. I think I'm seeing some parallels. We've got our villains, of course, the Junkyard Jacks. Let me introduce you to these race cars. Crash, Dash, and Smash. Brightly colored, easy to spot. I like how they all have slightly different jack-o'-lantern carvings on the hood. Should be easy to notice on the racetrack. They are the villains. Can anyone defeat the Junkyard Jacks tomorrow night? Tune in. Lino Racing, the official diecast of NASCAR. This is awesome. It's got a Chevy on the front, giving me some old Dale Earnhardt vibes. I know Dale Earnhardt's car wasn't explicitly red. It's a little closer to orange. This is just straight up red, but I don't know. It's giving me some intimidatory vibes, which is perfect for a creepy Halloween event. And the red window net. I like that. That's a nice finishing touch. Gotta show some love to our designer Chris Darling with his own Max graphics scheme right here. The blue looks awesome. I love the spikes or the shark fins, whatever you want to call them. I also like the door number tilted forward into the wind, as they say. Looks really, really strong. Appreciate Chris putting in all the hard work to make these schemes come to life. Minutemen Coffee, very patriotic as they are. I like how they've sort of blended their logo into the door, so the door number is like going over their logo, which is like the old American flag. That's a pretty neat touch. Don't see that every day. Red, white, and blue always looks great. National Metering Services, we saw them on Ryan Vargas's car at Daytona just a few weeks ago, and when he finished inside the top 10. So cool to see this paint scheme now on a 1987 car. Looks great. Nature's Garden. Wow, look at this. I love all the leaves and like grass on the side. I wasn't sure at first, but I actually like the grayish white sort of trim on the bottom, kind of going around the entire car, even along the, I guess along what you'd call the side skirt. This one caught me by surprise. I hadn't seen it until now, and it looks really nice. I think this will be easy to spot tomorrow in a pack at Daytona. Performance Distributors. Ooh, that goldish yellow number 8. I love black and gold, black and yellow. This looks really, really good. I think the door number is going to pop. What does it say underneath? Hound Dog Racing. Ooh, all right. They got a little bit of branding going on over here. Cool. Thad Moffitt will drive the famous Petty's Garage, number 43, complete with the Petty swoosh. We're bringing it all the way back here to 1987. I mean, there's nothing bad to say about this car. Petty blue looks good no matter the car, the era, real, virtual, doesn't matter. This looks great. Pristine Auction is in this race. I like the black, or maybe it's dark gray on the side. I love the deep red, of course, but contrasting it with bright white and dark black, I think really, really works on this car. So big fan of this one. Ooh, look at the red trim following from the front bumper all the way up the B post. Interesting how like the driver's side window is white, but the C post, sort of the back seat window, if you will, is outlined in blue. This car is really like cut itself in half, but in a unique way, not like right down the middle, sort of like top and bottom almost. You don't see that all the time, but I really like what they're doing here. Oh, of course, wouldn't be a throwback race without something reminiscent of Dale Earnhardt himself. The old Wrangler colors here on the Thread Wizard number 3. I mean, it looks great. We've seen this before. What's not to love? A couple more. Victory Consultants. Man, they really bought into the Halloween theme. This looks great. This is a contender for my favorite paint scheme, I think, of the bunch we've seen so far. All the jack-o'-lanterns on the bottom. Whew. Love some good details like that. WeatherTech. Whoa. WeatherTech with the yellow, black, and red. Surprising color combination, but I think it really works. I think that WeatherTech logo will be really legible on the track, and I think this car, being that yellow base, is going to be very visible in the pack at Daytona. So I'm a fan of this as well. Surprising color combo, but a welcome one. And lastly, year 1 muscle car parks. Let's end on a high note. Green and red, a little bit of yellow in there as well. I love that they've got a discount code there on the door. Really nice looking race car. I think that's going to do it. The legendary Halloween machine made its terrifying return to Groovy Hollow.
They still can't touch the Halloween machine at Groovy Hollow.
After years of hiatus, he's back and has done it again.
But when did the Halloween machine become the Halloween machine? It may surprise you to hear that a long time ago, Groovy Hollow was under the control of the Junkyard Jacks. The Junkyard Jacks were a fearsome band of villains known for terrorizing all those who dared challenge them on the racetrack. They despised parity, the choose rule, and low downforce. Many years ago, the reign of the Junkyard Jacks reached a breaking point during a race on the high banks of Daytona. This race marked the end of their fearsome regime. This is the race where the Halloween machine would officially introduce itself as the new ghoul of Groovy Hollow. Roads, where we're going, we don't need roads. Well, actually, we do need roads, and my hair's peeking through right here. We're racing at Daytona tonight. It's Groovy Hollow 2. Yes, we are live on YouTube. Thank you all so much for being here. Tonight's event is very special. If you were here last year, you're probably familiar with how this goes, but tonight's race is all for fun and for charity, benefiting Extra Life, a program of Children's Miracle Network hospitals. The top link down in the description below is where you go to donate. During the race tonight, I believe on this side of the screen, you will see a donation tracker. Last year, we raised just over $6,000. This year, thanks in large part to some of our very generous sponsors, we're already over $10,000, and the race hasn't begun. But that isn't going to stop us. There's the little meter right there. We're already pretty close to our $12,500 goal, but goals are meant to be broken and extended and extended. Keep challenging ourselves. So if you're feeling up to it, be sure to hit that donation link down in the description below. And we do have some prizes we're going to be giving away throughout the course of the evening. I've got some hats, 3 to be exact, out of the group hats we'll be giving away. I've also got 7. I gave a lot of these away at Talladega recently, but I have 7 of these out of the group bags to give away as well. So if you donate, I believe the minimum is $15 to Extra Life, you will be in the running to win one of these. I guess I have 10 total prizes. There's some other incentives in there as well, so I encourage you all to go check that out. This race is all benefiting a good cause. With that being said, I want to bring in the broadcast booth, the main 2 gentlemen that will be bringing you tonight's action. Kenneth Bueno, Devin Henry. Gentlemen, oh, I love it. Y'all are both in the Halloween spirit. Can we even hear you there, Devin? How's this going to work?
I try my best. That's how it works. That's it.
Awesome stuff. And
Okay.
And Kenneth, what do we got going here?
Oh, hello there. I think you may recognize this face. Well, not the face, but maybe just the whole outfit. I think I'm going with the Force tonight. So, little Obi-Wan vibes tonight, I think. So, I like all the costumes, though. We got a race car driver. We've got Back to the Future. We've got Star Wars. I think it's a good combo.
Awesome stuff. Well, we're all familiar with the Junkyard Jacks, the terrifying trio that have ruled Groovy Hollow over the past decade. Of course, it's 1987 here. That's why I've got the Back to the Future. This is like the biggest movie in the world right now. Well, I think 1987, did Back to the Future 2 come out in 1987? I'm not exactly sure, breaking the fourth wall over here, but the Junkyard Jacks, Brennan Poole, Anthony Alfredo, and Darian Gilliam, gentlemen, are they the favorites to win at Daytona tonight?
Well, I tell you what, Eric, can you list off all the drivers who have actually participated in the Daytona 500 who are racing tonight?
I guess Anthony Alfredo's got to be at the top of that list.
So I'd have to say that him and then also Brendan Poole, who knows Daytona quite well, are going to be some of the favorites tonight because, I mean, come on, how do you beat 2 guys who not only have the mantra and the character of being so great at a high downforce track, but on top of that, 2 guys who have been here before in the real world to go and compete and go out and perform well.
That's true. That is true. That's true. Don't sleep on Darian Gilliam, though. Don't sleep on him. He's a Junkyard Jack for a reason. But yes, I do agree. Anthony Alfredo, Brendan Poole, they've got so much experience on the high banks of so many tracks across the NASCAR calendar. But most importantly, this Daytona International Speedway. So they are the villains, and they are the Titans villains for a reason. They're going to try to get beat tonight by the entire field, but they're going to give them some work.
There's strength in numbers. There's 3 of them. I guess everyone else is just out there for themselves trying to take them down. We've got some other real-world race car drivers, Bailey Curry, Lawless Allen, several others. Are there any other drivers, Devin, that stick out to you that you think could really take the challenge to the Junkyard Jacks tonight?
Well, as you mentioned in your video earlier, of course, you got to love Thad Moffitt bringing out the Richard Petty colors because, I mean, a Petty at Daytona? I mean, come on, we also have a Dale Earnhardt theme car, like you said, and on top of that, we also have Blake McCandless, who many people in iRacing know He is the 1987 Master Kenobi. So, you know, that's someone who everyone's going to have to go out and try to beat here tonight because we all know he's one of the best on the service.
You know what? That is true, but I think the Force turns me to a young Padawan, and that is Presley Sora in number 21 tonight. He is fresh off a Monday Night Racing Pro Series Championship. He's one of the best young drivers on the iRacing service, and he's got some talent behind the wheel no matter what he drives. So I think that although you got to not tip the hat to the experience, and even the Junkyard Jacks, I think look for some of the young ones. They may be some of the apprentices that become the Jedi Masters at the end of tonight.
Great, Scott. You're over here dropping all the catchphrases. I feel like I got to catch up a little bit. A lot of challenging aspects of this race. It's Daytona, but with these 1987 cars. They're fast, they're unstable. Devin, do you anticipate pack racing, drafting, or do you think this is going to look a little different?
Well, I think, first of all, when you look at how some of these drivers have been practicing, it's hard just to hold a lane when you have a fast-paced Daytona. It's going to come down to who has the experience to race at this track in the 1987 cars. It's not like nowadays where you put the pedal to the metal and you're evaluating the guy in front of you. You have to be, first and foremost, in control of your own car while you're following someone else. The amount of difference of car control that it takes to keep that car in a straight line in the draft and out of the draft is immense. So I think we're going to see two packs separate. I think the front pack, for the most part, is going to want to stay a little bit more calmer. Maybe they go too wide, but they're not over-accentuating themselves. And I think we have another pack who's going to be trying to bite at that front pack, try to grab those ankles and pull them down beneath the spooky surface tonight of Daytona.
Kenneth, would you want to be a part of that front pack early on, or would you want to be part of that second pack Devin's talking about?
Ooh, I think it gets very spooky at the front. So if I want to stay away from danger, I think I'm going to hang in the back a little bit. Early on, I know that they're going to start to get aggressive later on in the race. That's what happens at these super speedway races. But if I want to survive and I don't make sure that I don't get haunted early on, I think I want to be in the back, play it safe for a little bit, get the situation settled with the car and with the people around you, and then start pushing near the end.
Absolutely. We got a few donations already beginning to trickle in. Again, a reminder to everyone watching live, we have over 800 concurrently watching here on YouTube. You can click that top link down in the description below. That'll take you to the Extra Life landing page where you can donate to a good cause and check out all the different prizes and incentives. I know today I had a big announcement. There's some deals there for some of the merch that we're offering, some of the new items that are available. So be sure to check that out. That meter just jumped up quite a bit. We're definitely trying to get closer and closer to our over $12,000 goal. As everyone can see on the screen right now, just a few minutes away until qualifying, and then just after that, just past the top of the hour, will be the green flag. Gentlemen, I'll start with you on this one, Kenneth. Are there any paint schemes? Because we're also doing a paint scheme vote right now. That link is also in the description. Are there any paint schemes tonight that really jump out to you?
Oh, it's kind of like picking a favorite child. There's so many great paint schemes in this field. It's going to be so tough to really identify the best ones. But honestly, I think I might have to go possibly, just maybe, with that Lionel Racing machine from Colin Fern. I really like it. It's classic. It isn't too out there. It isn't too crazy, but it is very simple, and simple is nice. I think it nails the accuracy of that sort of throwback paint scheme. I like the colors. I like the simplicity, and under the lights, it looks beautiful. So I'm going to go with Colin Fern on the paint scheme tonight.
Yeah, viewers at home getting a good view of it right now. What about you, Devin? Are there any that jump out to you that just jump out of the screen?
Well, Eric, I have to be completely impartial. For those of you who don't know, I'm from Arizona. I'm a big Arizona guy. That means I'm a huge J.J. Yaley fan. And Fort Worth screen printing has been on his car numerous times in his racing career as of late. So John Garrett's number 66 pops out at me as a paint scheme that I see a lot in person on one of my favorite drivers' cars. So I got to go with that number 66 of John Garrett with a beautiful Fort Worth screen printing machine.
John Garrett, absolutely a fantastic looking paint scheme right there. Beautiful looking race car. The Junkyard Jacks should be easy to spot tonight. Their paint schemes are very bright, very colorful. They will be very easy to track in the pack. We've got Smash, Dash, and Crash. I know I was looking at the results over on or I guess the current running order, you should say, on the fan vote, the paint scheme fan vote right now, and we had a few that clearly seem to have taken the lead. My favorite is personally the number 7. It looks gorgeous, orange with the jack-o'-lanterns all up and down the sides of the car, all over the front bumper. Really gets me into the Halloween spirit. But we've got some good racing going on in practice right here. Qualifying will be right around the corner. Gentlemen, I think since we're going to get pretty busy here in just a few moments, should we talk about maybe picks, who we think has got the best chance to take home the victory tonight?
Boy, I think that Blake McCandless has to be one that I physically can't pick because I feel like that's a dead giveaway straight out of the gate. So, you know what, man? I think Colin Fern right now is racing with a broken leg and a torn meniscus. Give me a Michael Jordan game out of Colin Fern to go out and win with one leg, basically.
All right, that's an interesting pick. I don't have as cool of a story, unfortunately, but I do like George Balfans Jr. in this race particularly. I've seen him race a couple of super speedway races on the sim. He is very good, very patient, and he seems to always be there at the end. So I know that I am going to tout Presley Sora. Blake McCandless is definitely not a slouch either. He's one of the best in these 1987 Cup cars on iRacing, but I do want to go with George Balfans Jr. There's a hint that he may show up at the end of this race and may have a solid shot at taking that checkered flag.
I got to go with, I think I have to go with one of the villains. The Junkyard Jacks are here for a reason. Anthony Alfredo, we know how great he is in the real race car, how good he is at super speedway racing. I know things are going to look and feel a little different out there tonight, but I'm going with Anthony Alfredo. Goliath perhaps will defeat David tonight. The Junkyard Jacks looking to defend their infamous Groovy Hollow crown. Well, we're just a couple minutes away from qualifying, and then the race will be ready to go green just after 8 p.m. Eastern time. We're still tracking donations. I'll remind everyone who just is now tuning in for the first time that we do have a few different prizes we'll be giving away. At the lap 40 break, because this is an 80-lap race, we're breaking it into 2 segments. I'll be giving away the 7 out of the groove drawstring bags. Meanwhile, at the end of the race on lap 80 or just after lap 80, that's when I'll be giving away those out of the groove hats. Again, if you donate to Extra Life by using that top link down in the description, you will be entered for a chance to win both or either one, potentially both of those prizes, all supporting a great cause. Final thoughts, gentlemen, before you guys take it away and we get ready to race for 80 laps here around Daytona. Kenneth, what are you looking forward to most tonight?
Ooh, I'm looking forward to some carnage. I mean, I want to see great racing, of course, and I believe there is going to be, but those Junkyard Jacks need to go down somehow, and at a track like Daytona, you're going to have some chaos at some point. So, I am going to look forward to some of the chaos. We'll see how the Junkyard Jacks handle that, because I know that they're very intimidating. Not sure if the field's fully scared of them yet, but I am going to look for a lot of chaos. Big crashes may be the key if you're going to get by them in order to win this race, but I am hoping for clean racing. And then car control discipline is going to be at an all-time high. So, Devin, we're going to see these guys on edge all race long.
That's my favorite part about these 1987 machines is that they are somewhat unpredictable. They are fun to drive. They are fun to watch. And when you get a group like this together who all want to go out and win this race for charity, win some cash in their pockets as well, that just makes the volcano erupt and we overload. But not to sound too corny, I'm excited that we only have about, what, $2,000 to reach our Groovy goal. I mean, if we're able to just burst the lid off of this tracker on the left side of your screen, that orange bar, I mean, how cool would that be for Extra Life and for these drivers to help out, donate a ton of money to a good cause? I'm excited to hopefully see that ceiling get blown up here. Maybe by that lap 40, and we'll see who gets those hats.
Absolutely. We appreciate everyone tuning in here tonight to Groovy Hollow 2, second annual charity iRacing event. The timer is running out. Drivers getting ready to set their fast laps. I'm going to take a back seat here for a few moments, try to track down some of these donations and get some names pulled out potentially for the lap 40 giveaway. But yeah, I think we're in good hands here with Kenneth and Devin. I'll jump back in here again shortly, but guys, we're just moments away from the green flag here for Groovy Hollow 2, Devin.
Prepared for a little bit of chaos, raising money for a great cause, and also some tremendous racing here at Daytona in the 1987 machines, live on Podium Esports. Always a pleasure to have you guys along for the ride. And Eric, can't wait to talk a little bit more also about what you have going on and making your NASCAR debut in a way when we get to Phoenix, and talking about your diecast as well, and a lot of teamwork going on there, and we'll talk a little bit more about that throughout the broadcast. But right now, Kenneth, qualifying 5 minutes, 2 laps, and it's not easy to qualify in 87 anywhere, and at Daytona, it's all about hitting your marks. It's not just eating that paint the entire time.
That's definitely true. One thing, though, I am going to look forward to in qualifying is the way these guys rip the wall to gain momentum off of the 31 degrees of banking. That's a way that you can gain some speed coming off the final corner into your qualifying laps. And in a lot of other cars, you don't really have to worry all too much. Just hold your line tidy. Your car is going to get through it. But in these 1987 cars where the downforce is so limited, these cars are so full of wrath, you need to make sure you're keeping it at control at all costs. And as you're watching a couple of the drivers, including the 51, Ricky Harden, cross the line for his first of 2 qualifying laps, we are definitely in for a show, not only in just the race, but how these guys handle it by themselves. Also, I like to think of this as the overthinking zone. It's very easy to overthink when you're all by yourself running laps on the track, so be careful of that as well.
Oh, no kidding. Having to go through the corner and knowing exactly where you need to change what in a corner. You kind of float up on the center to avoid a little bit of those bumps. It depends on how your cars feel. They're all running the same setup, but this track looks a little bit different than what it would have been back if we were actually running in 1987, back when these cars ran at Daytona, because nowadays 101,500 seats, looking at that facade of faces up in the grandstands. And, of course, this track dreamed back up in 1953 until it was finally brought to life after bringing up the beautiful Daytona Beach. All those races, how incredible would it be to actually see those races nowadays? But they turned into this 2.5-mile incredible racing facility, and tonight 200 miles on this track. And what is such a difficult track-car combo here on iRacing to decide who's going to take home a great win here tonight. And right now, on top of the board, Blake McCandless. Boy, Kenneth, we knew it was going to come eventually. He's P1 already.
Yep, he's the quickest, but qualifying is still not over, and he gets toppled over. David L. Brown in the 11 goes faster, 43.542. So McCandless is sitting on the throne. Definitely doesn't last too long, but that is going to be a very good starting position. We'll see how the rest of the field cycles through. There's still a lot of guys that are yet to put in their 2 qualifying laps. Maybe some not taking qualifying laps on purpose, just because wink, wink, they want to hold them to the back when we start this race. But already some of the Titans, Devin, that we're kind of having our eyes on, they are immediately shooting to the top of the board.
But this is a little bit of a sprint race. I don't want to say that 200 miles is short, but even when you go and talk to the real-world Truck Series drivers, they talk about how stressful it is that you have to get the job done in just 200 miles compared to the Daytona 500 being 500 miles. This is a little bit of a sprint. You got to be careful, not fall too far behind, and definitely what you don't want to do is get out of the draft, lose a lap. At that point, your chances of winning this race are basically all but dead.
Oh, yeah, that is true, but you do have a little bit of a saving grace, that break in the middle of the race at around lap 40. So let's say if you don't have the most competitive race in that first half, you can kind of settle things through, calm yourself down a little, and then work in that second half, and then try to get to the front of the field and try to become that Halloween machine, beat the Junkyard Jacks on their way to Barney the Flagman in that sacred trial. So, I mean, at the end of the day, well, we're going to see a lot of movement throughout the field in that first half and even in that second half. But, I mean, that break in the middle is going to be very huge for these guys. It's going to limit some of the shaking. I know it's not fully cold here in Daytona. We are in Florida, after all, and it's usually never cold in this state whatsoever. So we aren't going to have any spooky chills, but these guys are going to have some calm nerves a little bit once we get to that halfway mark.
Yeah, we'll see about those calm nerves and see if it bites anyone as they're trying to run across the Daytona International Speedway that opened back up to racing in 1959. And this is 1987, if you will. So quite frankly, it's about the same gap from the track opening to 1987 to today, back to 1987. As we prepare for a spooky bash here, oh so close to Halloween, racing for a great cause and a little bit of money. It's time to go and check out our starting lineup for tonight. We talked about it. David Brown with a time of 43.542 takes home the pole in the spooky Groovy Hollow 2, excuse me. Blake McCandless will start on the outside front row alongside him in the number 21 machine. JT Poole, keep an eye on the 62 car. He will start off in third. Alongside him will be Presley Sora in the number 21 machine. David Schildhouse and Nick Olson make up row number 3 side by side. Ryan Johnson will start in 7th. Matt Stolnick will be outside of row number 4. Ricky Harden and Gabe Wood round out our top 10 of the Spooky Hollow 2.
It will be John Theodore inside row number 6 in his number 37, and he has got a Junkyard Jack dash to his outside. Anthony Alfredo in P12. Lawless Allen rolling with the 25 machine. He is 13th. He'll have Colin Fern to his outside in P14. That caps off row number 7. Then there is Junkyard Jack Crash. Darian Gilliam, he rolls off inside the top 15. He's got Christopher Darling to his outside in his sacred number 32 machine. Joseph Crowd in the number 7 rolls off 17th. He will have Tim Combs to his outside in 18th. Christopher Tate will be 19th when we drop the green, and it'll be Junkyard Jack Smash. Brennan Poole starting P20 on the grid from Daytona.
Keep an eye out for Bailey Curry, the NASCAR Xfinity Series driver in the Nature's Garden Ford Thunderbird. He will start off in 21st alongside Rhett Tucker in the 22nd position. John Garrett will start off in 23rd in this race. Matt Alverson will start in the 24th position. After that, Thad Moffitt, the final driver to qualify. His time was a little bit off of everybody else. He will start off in 25th. Malachi Drake will start in P26. Seth Eggert will start in the 27th position. Brendan Palmetto will be in 28th. Dalton Kilroe in 29th. And our final 2 starters tonight, Billy Stanley and Braden Laster. Well, Kenneth, we are prepared to kick off a spooky night and also a great night to add us some charity money up for a great cause. Continue to donate there, and of course you put yourself in the running for some extra prizes from Eric and the entire Out of the Groove team. So be sure to keep on donating, and that is all going to Extra Life at Children's Miracle Network charity. Kenneth, your final thoughts before we drop the green flag on a ominous Daytona night.
Ooh, I don't know. The shadows are looming over. It's getting a little scary here in the nightfall at Daytona. I'm ready for the field to get that green flag. I want to see if there's any antsiness early on, if any guys are already willing to get up there. And also, keep in mind, all of the Junkyard Jacks, all 3 of them are rolling in the midfield. So how will they work together to move up to the field and establish their domination? Remember, they were the best at intimidating everybody else until the Halloween machine came around. We'll see if they live up to that name once we get lap number 1 underway.
Just like any horror movie, you have to survive to make it to the end. Much like any race in any car when you visit Daytona International Speedway. And now we are ready to kick off the 2nd edition of the Groovy Hollow. Last year at a short track, this year we do it at one of the biggest you can jump on. Daytona International Speedway, the site of this race. As dusk falls upon Florida, the Junkyard Jacks come out to play on an ominous Floridian night. Can any of the challengers take them down on the high banks of Daytona? We are underway for the Groovy Hollow 2 live on Podium Esports. David Brown making use of that pole position starting spot, but Blake McCandless relentless on the high side. He gets himself a good push. He's clear for the lead, starting in P2. Presley Sora giving that extra little bit of momentum and put McCandless out front early.
And you can tell over the first lap, Devin, a lot of guys not willing to have no space between themselves and the car in front. Looks like Sora's going to go for the lead all by himself on the inside at turn 3. He'll be on the bottom of Blake McCandless this time through. He'll have a nose ahead. Question is, does he have a push? Answer is no. We are even for the lead, even for second, even for third, multiple rows deep after the first couple laps.
The Indiana kid on the high side, one of the teenagers in this race, fighting for the lead here early against McCandless. Losing a little bit of support, though, as everyone continues to duck down to the bottom side of this racetrack. You do not see your typical line them up, push them forward kind of thing like we've seen the past many years in NASCAR. These cars are just that hard to handle. Sora pushes up on exit. He's going to lose a chunk of spots. And this will allow David Brown, that number 11 machine, to jump up a little bit further and get himself up front.
Yeah, it looked like McCandless went up a little bit too high at the exit of turn 2, almost tagged the outside wall, and now he's near the back of this first pack. Here comes Gabe Wood in the 4, all by himself. He's got help from Ryan Johnson in the 1. Can he take the lead away? For now, they're going to look underneath the number 11 of David Brown and maybe catch Sora back to turn 1.
Sora continues to lead the field in that 1821 man-made Chevy Monte Carlo. On board here as they continue to try to fester at that number 21 machine. Gabriel Wood putting himself in the conversation, the brand South Africa number 4 machine. This outside lane continues to groove on, Kenneth, and they have certainly found some momentum. Caution flag go out for the first time tonight.
And crashes involved. One of the Junkyard Jacks has been in it. The number 29 machine. And already the Junkyard Jacks are looking a little bleak. Early on, that's Darian Gilliam involved. And we have a somewhat large crash, Devin, coming out of turn 2. And I think it might have started with the Junkyard Jack himself. Might have gotten tagged by the 7 machine, by Joseph Krautz. And then it kicked off a huge scenario. Lawless Allen was involved, and so many other guys get caught up in the mess. Caution out, lap number 5.
Well, Kenneth, I don't believe in superstitions, but I guess when you do a Halloween-themed event, that's just kind of what happens. I've been dreading since I heard who these junkyard drivers were. When I learned that Darian was going to be Crash, I was really worried that he was going to end up living up to that name, and unfortunately gets loose on the outside. Just gets a little bit of a tip-tap from Joseph Krott, and that will send him into the wall and collect a ton of bystanders. 15 cars collecting this of Tim Combs. It looked like the 43 was also in this. Thad Moffitt trying to get away from the beginning of that wreck, and unfortunately, we already have a number of cars facing what might be the use of their first fast repair. On board here, getting loose, just trying to avoid it too.
Yeah, Matt Alverson in the number 3 there. Unfortunately, the force was not with Crash in the middle of the corner. But you brought up a good point pre-race, Devin, about the fact that this race at Daytona with these 1987 Cup cars isn't necessarily only about sticking with the draft and doing simple pack racing. It's about controlling the car, making sure it doesn't step out away from you, making sure it doesn't rip out of your hands. And for Crash, that's exactly what happened. And you got a lot of other guys involved. And you also made a good point there. Fast repair being used up so early on in the race, you got to have it for later on. And unfortunately, a lot of these guys may have to take that down immediately as of lap 6. We still have so much to go here from Daytona, so that's a big concern for all of them.
And on lap 6, we already have pit strategy. Everybody but 8 cars will take a trip down onto pit road. As for these other drivers, I don't know if this is really a big deal or not, because tires do wear so quickly on the 1987 cars. Unlimited tire sets here at Daytona. What is that going to equate to? Are we going to see drivers continually give up track position for tires? Boy, only 8 cars stay out under this first caution on lap number 6.
You know, I'm not sure. I mean, it's an interesting point that you can basically go down pit road theoretically every single lapping of tires. Obviously, that's not a method to win at all because you're going to lose laps, and it's not going to be good for you whatsoever. But, I mean, it is going to mean a little bit. This track necessarily isn't the most abrasive, so it's not like the tire wear is going to be significant by any stretch of the imagination, but getting tires and having them as a premium is always going to be a benefit. So I think that we're probably going to see some riskier calls, probably near the end of the race, where, you know, everyone's going to still have unlimited tire sets and they have the ability to come down pit road at any step of the race they can. So I think the unlimited tire set rule is going to have these guys be a little more risky with their strategies. And, you know, here around Halloween time, I think you got to have a little scary ending. You got to have a little scary call every now and then that gets your guts wrenching a little bit. So that may be in play tonight.
So, Eric, we've seen our first little stretch of everybody trying to get accustomed to this car-track combo at night as well. So, early on, we see a couple of drivers put themselves up front, make themselves a headline. Eric, do you read me? Is he already off in...
Apologies, I've been trying to
Lost him?
manage this flux capacitor over here.
I thought he already went 88
trying to
miles per
manage the
hour. I
wig.
thought he was gone, yeah.
It's a disaster over here. You're telling me you built a time machine out of a Ford Thunderbird? I don't. Okay. What happened there? I think what started that caution was the Junkyard Jacks. They're used to hunting as a pack, as a threesome, if you will. And when one of them got separated from the herd, they didn't know what to do. They were hung out to dry, it seems. So I think that's what affected Crash there. I do want to provide an update on our Extra Life Groovy donation goal. We're closing in on $11,000. When we began the night, we were just over 10,000. So already hundreds of dollars donated to the Children's Miracle Network, courtesy of all the very generous viewers watching at home. But some good racing there those first few laps. Handling already coming into play.
Well, on an inauspicious night, we see numerous drivers already having to find a fast repair. And looking at the weather tonight, it is about midnight in Sim. I mean, when else do you do a Halloween-themed event, though, right? On top of that, about 68-degree air temperature, some ominous clouds in the area, 70-degree track temperature. And, of course, Kenneth, you know this well, an average Floridian night at 73 degrees humidity and just a little bit of wind blowing north at 2 miles an hour so far tonight.
That's typical Florida. Typical Florida. Even in October, you would expect it to get kind of cold, but it's not cold at all during Halloween. I don't think anyone's trick-or-treating out at midnight here near Daytona Beach, Florida, but what I do know is that we're ready to get back under green. Presley Sora going to lead the field through. He's got David O. Brown behind him, and with these 1987 Cup cars, Devin, the restarts are all single file, so everybody nose to tail going back to turn one.
Going back in time, and David Schildhouse wants to find himself back out front. He'll go door-to-door with JT Poole, trying to pull that number 14, Habana Brizzik, Chevy Monte Carlo up front, and he has himself quite a little bit of a groove here on the outside.
And David O'Brown's got some help. That's a big push from the 14 of David Schildhouse to the back of Presley Sora. It's going to stabilize the two leaders entering the third corner. But remember, look at all the patrons on the bottom. That's going to help them a little bit and gain some of that extra draft, and it'll keep David Brown in contention. They're already 3 wide in the back part of the pack. That's around the top 10. Blake McCandless looking to the inside, and already most of the field single file. I'm looking, though, at the Junkyard Jacks. Some of them are trying to find each other out on track. Smash and Anthony Alfredo have found each other 13th and 14th, so keep an eye on them.
Already, and those are two drivers who know so much about Daytona. The only two drivers in the field to enter the Daytona 500. In fact, Brennan Poole, who's driving the Smash car tonight, he finished 16th in the 2020 Daytona 500, a top 20 in the Great American Race. And how about this? More starts at Daytona than any other driver in the field. Yes, more than Alfredo, more than Moffitt. That's across all 3 of NASCAR's National Series and the ARCA Menard Series. So he knows his way around Daytona in a variety of different car series. We have more chaos coming out of 4.
Oh, they are shivering around the midfield. Got a couple of cars around. I believe I see Seth Eggert involved, but he was one of the later cars in it. Ricky Harden in the 51. So many others involved. I think Colin Fern might have had a piece of it as well. He's around at the exit of turn 4. So it is starting to get scary. And I think we may have had some damage, Devin, to another Junkyard Jack. Dash has some suspension damage on the right front.
So troubles for Dash, and even on top of that, we also see, I think we see Smash on pit road as well, maybe. Maybe not, but trouble for Anthony Alfredo as he has to take this car onto pit road. Let's take a look back here, Kent, at what happened in this one. Coming out of 4 here, looks like this is Alfredo.
Yeah, it just looks like they all stacked up around the same part of the track, and I really want to see how it all began. 2 cars got loose at the same time, by the way. Rhett Tucker in the 9 machine got loose all by his lonesome going into turn 3, and it looked like the same thing happened to Dash Anthony Alfredo. So both of the situations happening at around the same time. It's just with Rhett Tucker when he went sideways. By the time he got the car all out of whack, basically everybody piled in. And there's a look at the contact, everybody trying to avoid. There's Ricky Harden going hard into the outside wall, and then many others getting collected in it as well. It is so hard, Devin, to slow these cars down because it's 1987. These cars don't have the best brakes. They don't have next-gen brakes like we do in 2022. So it is so tough to have the stomper there on the brake pedal and be able to get away from it cleanly. A lot of guys involved and possibly more fast repairs to be used as well.
Some misfortune for Rhett Tucker in that number 9 Iggy Sports Cars and collectible Ford Thunderbird. Take a look here, just trying to avoid the chaos, gets collected up in it. You see more and more drivers are going to have to use their first fast repair, even after wrecking, trying to dodge everybody else, and they continue to spin down the straightaway. Well, as drivers continue to slide down onto pit road and figure out what they need to do to get back on track, 70 laps to go in the Groovy Hollow 2 here at Daytona. We'll step aside, bring it back. More action on the way with Out of the Groove and Podium Esports.
Hate struggling to clean hard water stains in your bathroom? Stop working so hard to clean those surfaces. Bring It On Cleaner makes the job quick and easy. Simply add Bring It On Cleaner to the surface and scrub in circles. With less effort, stains are gone. And for tougher jobs, use the Bring It On drill brushes. Simply attach to your drill and you can get the job done faster. Washable and reusable, these brushes do the work for you. Shop for your Bring It On Cleaner and Bring It On drill brushes on Amazon today.
Searching for quality restoration parts for your muscle car project? Look no further than year1.com. Click and search. From hot products to full color catalogs, Year One is your one source for sheet metal, from floor pans to complete bodies, crate engines and drivetrain components, to seat covers and carpet, emblems and trim. Unmatched quality and customer service. You're in good company. Join the crew and ride with the best in the industry. Year1.com.
We've raised nearly $11,000 for Extra Life through just these first 12 laps, but I want to call attention to one other event going on. We'll announce the winner of the Groovy Hollow Raceway paint scheme contest at the midway break, lap 40. So if you haven't voted for your favorite paint scheme that's racing here tonight, click the link down in the description below, groovyhollowraceway.com/cars, and vote for your favorite scheme. We'll announce the winner in about 30 laps. Devin?
Boy, excited to see if we can go ahead and meet that goal. It's coming up oh so close. Glad to have you here on the Groovy Hollow 2, live on Podium Esports. A lot going on tonight, not just, of course, raising money for charity for a tremendous cause, but, Kenneth, these drivers have something to fight for as well. You know, as great as it is to raise money for charity, the stakes go even higher when you say, yeah, whoever crosses the finish line first gets $500. So you put that on top of the 1987 cars at Daytona, boy, oh boy, are we going to get a show. So let's get ready, go back under green flag racing. Presley Sora is your leader. Gabe Wood in the second position right now, going through turns 1 and 2. Wood decides to bump it up to the outside lane. He has no help, though, and David Brown wants to shoot the middle. Here we go, diving into turn number 3.
Oh, they're going to get loose. They're going to stack up Blake McCandless, who's in the middle of that, and they're going to go sideways, and one car up and over in the grass. Caution is out. Lap 13.
And Lawless Allen flew through there in the Dasher Lawless Auto Park Kit Buick. He's able to avoid the dangers, but more drivers continue to be caught up in carnage. This one coming at the front of the field.
That was a big one. I saw the one machine of Ryan Johnson flip once and maybe twice. He landed on all 4 wheels, but look at that. Our big flip in turn 3, only a lap 14. You probably would have expected to have it a little later in this race, but caught the grass. The car just wanted to go sideways, and look at how it all started. Guys got loose. They were pushing it 3 wide. Guys already getting aggressive, and this is definitely a scary sight if you're that one machine, Devin.
I tell you what, if you're bringing it on cleaner with that Ford Thunderbird, it's a pretty dang cool sight. This next part isn't as great when it gets completely throttled on the door, and also gets a pretty good piece there of Joe Crowd in the Victory Consultations Buick as well. But nonetheless, cool visual. Look nice. On board here. Let's take a ride, guys.
Well, this is going to make me shiver my boots. That's for sure. Christopher Darling here near the rear, and you'll see everybody stack up. They were going 3 wide for the lead right there. I think somewhat of a miscommunication between those guys, and Darling goes straight through it, sees the car tumbling end over end, and somehow finds a way to keep it straight, catches a car on the inside, and then has a hit to the outside wall. I don't think, Devin, that is going to warrant a fast repair 100%, but for Darling there, obviously you want to escape without any sort of damage, and Darling now coming on a pit road, so not sure if the fast repair will be used at this stretch of the race, but he has dropped all the way to P30, and he's probably going to lose some more time here. Maybe dead last, Devin, by the time we get the next restart.
But again, Kenneth, now on lap 15, we see mass pit stops. Only 11 cars will stay out here, and you do see a lot of front-end damage to that Max Graphics Buick right there. And these 1987 machines do not like that front-end damage. It overheats the car, and it will blow the engine. So not a lot of give and take when it comes to front-end damage on these old 1987 machines. That's likely the repair that he's trying to get as these cars continue to try to fight off a pit road, I guess. I mean, look at Anthony Alfredo. He was involved in our last wreck. He's going to restart in 9th. Taking a look at Presley Story, your current leader, and we saw one car flying through everything. We already talked about Lawless Allen and his Buick just flying through the field there as they were wrecking. One of the real-life drivers for the NASCAR Truck Series and Nice Motorsports. He was able to compete in his first ever race on this big track, started 10th, finished 25th back in February. And you gotta love this. I went like cheap with the costume. I already had a helmet and everything. You got a cloak. I'm not trying to push you under the bus here, but I mean, we literally have Dr. Eggman, or I don't know if you want to call him it's a Robotink, I think, is the old one or whatever.
Robotnik.
But I mean,
Dr.
Ricky
Robotnik.
Harden, Robotnik, thank you, sorry, but Ricky Harden went all out here, and I'm loving it, baby.
Oh, yeah, this is awesome for Ricky Harden. I saw the mustache, and I was like, I recognize that from somewhere. I'm glad that there's not a Sonic the Hedgehog out on the racetrack. I'm not sure if any of the other drivers are dressed like Sonic the Hedgehog. There's no paint schemes referencing Sonic the Hedgehog at all, so I think we're safe for now from him trying to do anything crazy. But for Ricky Harden, that is a gorgeous paint scheme on track and an amazing costume. I think he beat all of us. I'm not going to lie. Eric and Ricky may have to fight for best costume that we've seen so far, but we still got probably more cameras from everybody else, so who knows?
Best doctor, honestly.
Oh,
ooh, okay. There you go. There you go.
The doctor is in, apparently, this year. There's a theme.
Doctor is in.
Oh, look at this.
Well, how
Is
about
this
we all
pizza?
know Braden as the Pizza Man. He is the Pizza Man. You go find him on Twitter. He has a pizza helmet. This here, it's Braden Laster, and he is in the Auto Repair Vince Stickers Ford Thunderbird. He has ran in a variety of cars. He's racing in the Arca Menard series. We've seen him race a lot on dirt. He races almost anything on wheels. I think he's still a teenager too, but he is simply known as the Pizza Man. So he is all pizzaed out right now in this number 13 machine.
Oh man, no, I ate pizza earlier today, and now that's making me more hungry. Look at all the decorations. It's not just the costume; it's the helmet, it's the bedding behind him. He is all out tonight with all that.
He's got everything pointed the right direction. The only thing that he could use a little bit more of is some track position. A little bit mired back as we come to this restart in 18th. Yes, that as well. Ready to go back green here. We have 15 laps complete of our 80-lap total. We will have a pause at lap 40 to give away some merch, boys and girls. So let's see if we can keep this race clean. Presley Sora leads. David Schildhouse in second. Lawless Allen shot forward to the third position. Nick Olson, John Theodore round out our top 5. Single file restart a little bit slow out of Lawless Allen. It's hard to go through the gears with these cars, and that is actually going to cost Nick Olson a position. John Theodore slices forward into 4th.
Yeah, I was about to notice that too. Devin Olsen had a sluggish start, and he's fallen back to 5th. Obviously, good news is nobody else tried to pounce him there onto turn 1 and 2, so he's going to hold on to his spot. And I also saw Schildhaus try to ante and give a move here to Presley Sora on his rear bumper. It almost got Sora all out of shape. Could have caused another yellow, but for right now, we're going to stay single file into turn 3. Maybe some side-by-side action. Indeed, there is. Around the latter half of the top 10, Rhett Tucker, Gabe Wood going at it for P9.
Top 2 allowing themselves to separate themselves from the field. Olsen now taking a shot. Lawless Allen, this is for the 3rd position. Olsen, that white and blue number 2 Minuteman Coffee for Thunderbird. As now the battle for the lead continues to heat up. Presley Sora and David Schildhaus, they've been racing against themselves about every single Monday night for the past year or so, as Presley Sora and him are both in the Monday Night Racing League, and they continue to try to figure out who is going to make the difference here up front, but they have company now as drivers continue to slide forward. Schildhaus has some help. That will put him out front.
Yeah, it seems like it is all Monday Night Racing around this top 5, and guess who's in the mix? Dash, the Junkyard Jack. Anthony Alfredo has weaved his way into the top 5. He's going to look to give some help to the 86 of Colin Fern, and maybe they'll get David Brown in this as well. Presley Sora all left to dry on the high side. Brown looking underneath Alfredo, but the Junkyard Jacks, at least one of them, are here to play back to turn 1.
And it excuses for some slight malfunctions on our graphics. The ghosts of Daytona taking over and causing havoc, as I'm sure they did right there, as one driver gets the outside wall out of 2. And we are 2 by 2, several rolls deep. David Schildhaus trying to fend off Nick Olsen. Olsen on the inside. Schildhaus on the outside. Doesn't have a ton of help, but at least has Presley Sora alongside.
You know, the good thing about this pack here that we're seeing is some cars
Whoa, Olsen gets sideways, and they're going to wreck behind.
Yeah, Rhett Tucker hit the outside wall. I think him and Lawless Allen are the cause for this caution. And a couple of more drivers in it, but Rhett Tucker, remember, he was near the latter half of the top 10, Devin, fighting with Gabe Wood, and it looks like got loose. Lawless Allen tapped him, and we've got another yellow.
And another Junkyard Jack almost getting obliterated. Brennan Poole in the smash machine. He gets smashed into the outside wall. Allen gets a piece here of the 9. Chaos ensues behind, and watch out for that pink jack-o'-lantern. Woo! Bring that thing with the brakes on. Luckily, no damage here for Brennan Poole, and he will continue on. The real-life NASCAR Xfinity Series driver got a little loose. I mean, that's what happens when you get on the brakes here, and especially when you change the banking. Hold on to it, Brennan.
You just have to look right here. Look at all the smoke coming out, everybody drifting. Look at Poole. Smash is going to drift the car, and he's going to keep it out of the inside and outside wall. Fortunately, everybody else also scours away. But I was about to say the Junkyard Jacks will be getting closer to the top of the field. It looks like Alfredo has been the only one to do so. But with that save by Brennan Poole, it may just keep him in the fight for a little longer.
Well, it looks like we continue to cause havoc at Daytona for the Groovy Hollow 2 at Daytona International Speedway. We'll step aside one more time, bring you back for what we hope is the final half of the first half of the race, and then we'll give away a little bit of swag here in the Groovy Hollow 2.
Tell you, so get ready for another breakthrough. So let me show you what I mean. Yeah. 'Cause what I got is the new thing. Yeah. Listen up, I'm gonna say it all right now. 'Cause I just gotta let you know it's better than ever. Have you heard the word?
Hey folks, John Schneider here. I'm so excited. This is actually my wife's car. Mine is covered up over there, but I want to thank Performance Distributors. Look at that. So good looking. And batteries. And all the wires here. I want to thank you for supporting our internal battle at home. Who is faster? Just hang on. We both have the ability to win the race. Why? Because we got the best distributors, batteries, and wires in the business, and we want to thank you for that. But as far as actually winning the race, me. Thank you. Thanks for this. Yeah, thanks for this. Bye.
Moments away from another restart here at Daytona. Quick update on our Extra Life donation gauge. We're at just over $11,000, just about $1,500 away from reaching our $12,500 goal. Really appreciate everyone's generosity so far tonight. Again, you can click that top link down below to donate to Extra Life, program of the Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. And in just about 18 laps, I'll be giving away some out of the groove drawstring bags to 7 random lucky donators. So be sure to check that out. We're closing in on that goal.
Excited for some free merch coming from Out of the Groove. Excited for that, and excited to hopefully get us to the half point of this race where we can give all that away. Ready to go back green. An interesting front two. Our leader of this race right now after pit stops is the Lionel Racing number 30 machine of Colin Fern. He right now is racing with a fractured tibia and torn meniscus. He will lead us back to the green flag. And then I had some happy haunts send me some vibrations. There's a message from Gabe Wood in second. He said that he's going to win this race after having some issues early, so we'll see if he's able to pilot that yellow number 4 machine, the brand South Africa Buick, up front here. So he'll restart in second. David Brown, who, I mean, he's been basically up front this entire race. He will restart in third. Bailey Curie has now moved into the 4th position. Lawless Allen has been able to stay in 5th. But how about the 44, Malachi Drake? Haven't talked about him yet, and he's up to P6.
Yeah, that is definitely true. Malachi Drake repping the across the board. And it looks like his 1987 car, a beautiful paint scheme, by the way. I love the NASCAR colors, and I like some of the wood grain texture on his car as well. It's been a nice move up through the field for the driver, the 44, after being in 26. And then there's JT Poole, another driver behind him. Started 3rd. He's up, though, to 7th. I think he's had some issues, been involved in some of the crashes so far here in Groovy Hollow 2 from Daytona, but he's starting to pick it back up. Also to note, everybody 10th on back went down pit road, including, like you said, Devin, your leader, Presley Sora. So it's going to shake up the order a bit. And again, goes back to our point about unlimited tire sets. The risky calls are starting to come up. There's going to be a loss of track position now for sure, but they're confident they can bring it back up. So at lap number 23, if this is what we're seeing, you can only imagine what we're going to see if we get a restart near lap 80.
Exactly. We're already seeing some aggressiveness, but we've also seen those lanes materialize going into turn number 1 already on numerous occasions here. So I think we're going to find out exactly how physical and how demanding these drivers can be here as we continue to roll along here in the Groovy Hollow 2 at Daytona live on Podium Esports. Excited to see who's going to be able to grab this race, because it's not just raising money for a great charity. It's also $500. I mean, come on, we got a great purse here, and we will see who will take home a big payday here, be able to donate some money to charity. Colin Fern lead us back to the green flag. Gabe Wood behind him. Brown, Curry, and Allen, your top 5.
And the magic of these single file restarts, everybody practically on the even playing field, and they're going to start to make some moves. In fact, some risky ones. Gabe Wood tried to shut the door on David Brown, but to absolutely no success. Brown is going to look for more. He's going to look to the outside out of turn 2 for the race lead.
Gabe Wood will follow in that yellow number 4 behind him. They have momentum, and they're going to bring Bailey Curry into the mix as well in that green number 28 machine. Outside lane is going chugga, choo-choo into turn number 3.
And you wonder, Devin, if the aggression is going to overstep a little. We've seen them go 3 wide, but the last time they did, they ended up in a crash going onto the back straightaway. So maybe a little more careful this time around, but maybe not enough or careful enough for Presley Sora. He's going to look to the bottom. He's going to give assistance to Colin Fern on the inside. 2 versus 3 going back to the corner.
Oh man, that sends shivers down my spine. Bumping in these 87 cars going into a corner can be an absolute recipe for disaster. Fern and Stora are able to get it done, but cannot shake off Colin Fern on the outside with a little bit of help from Gabe Wood.
And Gabe Wood relentless here on the top, and although Brown pretty much dumped him in terms of helping him get to the race lead, Wood is going to stay with him. He's going to fall back. Looks like Fern is going to get loose at a turn 4, and he's going to be able to save it. A gorgeous save for Fern. One card hard into the inside wall, though, all the way in the back. Fern, though, is going to hold on to his car, and I think it was Christopher Darling, Devin, that has come to a halt in the tri-oval, and I'm not sure if the caution will waive.
I don't think so. Single car all by his lonesome. A look back. Look at this miraculous save from Colin Fern. No one else gets involved, and I am not sure I have seen these Buicks and these Chevys and these Thunderbirds get that out of shape and not end up in one of the walls.
Just again, this 1987 car is not afraid to rip out of your hands, and look at the wheeling effort that Colin Fern has to do, and then behind them, Christopher Darling going hard into the inside.
More
wall.
issues
Looks
for
like his
Fern.
race is
Caution
over.
flag is out. Major pileup coming out turn number 2, and we are back, slowed down again. There
I
was an
think it
issue
might have
inside
started-
the top 20. Yeah, and
Yeah,
then
that was Lawless
there was a
Allen,
little
I
bit
think,
of
got loose
braking
into turn
happening.
3.
Other drivers were not slowing down, so Lawless Allen makes some contact there, getting loose. A pair of our junkyard jacks getting involved in this one, and then a lot of spinning cars, and you see Billy Stanley, that performance distributor Chevy Monte Carlo, gets sent to that outside wall. A lot of damage for the 8 machine.
Yeah, Smash and Dash seem to be the junkyard jacks around this carnage. And Lawless Allen just gets loose in the entrance of the corner right about here. It just snaps loose and hits Smash for a bit. There's Dash, Alfredo going sideways. And then as Lawless Allen gets loose, hit a car on the inside. And it looks like everybody just gets involved. No mercy at all. Look at the huge slam. And around everybody it went. Same part of the track where Christopher Darling slammed the inside wall is the same part of the track where all of these guys pack in. And we have another caution at lap number 27.
How about the wheel there? The seized part. Joseph Kraut kind of made it happen, though, wiggling that car around like it's a skateboard. Beautiful piece of driving there, and Kraut is able to keep that number 7 Victory Consultants Buick alive, at least for now. Well, while we're under caution again, it will be around 10 laps to go till we have our halfway break and we give away some merch. But, you know, I'm a little impartial. But there's a big deal happening in 2 weeks at the NASCAR Championship weekend at the greatest track in the world, Phoenix Raceway. Eric, your face is going to be on a car?
Absolutely, it will, Devin, and it's going to actually look like my face. It's not going to look like this with all the crazy hair. But yeah, this is a great time to remind everyone watching that we're closing in on selling out of all 500 pre-orders. So we sold out of the first 250 who will get their name on the car, but there still are a handful available. So if you head to groovymotorsports.com/shop, you can check out the diecast there. There's some other fun Phoenix exclusive limited edition merch items available as well. So it's been a pretty busy day, probably the busiest day on this YouTube channel ever. So really appreciate all the support, all the kind words from people out there. And yeah, be sure to take advantage of these offers if you're still on the fence.
And this is also a pretty meaningful diecast, not just because Out of the Groove is making their debut on the front of a car, but also, if I understand correctly, for Brennan Poole, who's been around NASCAR for quite a bit in all 3 levels, this is his first diecast?
That's what I've heard, yeah. So it's fun to help out a fellow Texan. Brennan Poole is actually from about 15, 20 minutes from where I grew up, so I obviously didn't know each other growing up, but having gotten to know him a little bit better the last couple of years, that's pretty cool. Little backstory, little connection. So it's an honor, I guess, to be Brennan Poole's first diecast. So hope everyone goes and checks that out. I'm super excited with how it came out, and obviously can't wait to see the real thing here in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I will be at Phoenix, so I'm very excited to see the work that you've put in paying off as it will be on a NASCAR track with Brennan Poole. So we get ready to check out some more racing action in the real world. Maybe it won't be quite as havocal as what we've seen here at Daytona. I guess it's to be expected when you bring out such a difficult track car combination, but nonetheless, Kenneth, so far, boy, it has been a difficult run for a lot of these cars, specifically the Junkyard Jacks. It seems like even when they're not involved in the wreck, for some reason the Halloween spirits surround them because the wrecks are happening in their vicinity almost every single time.
And you know what that means, Devin? I think it means a change of the tide. That's how the Halloween machine was able to surpass all of the Junkyard Jacks and defeat them for good. Obviously, this race is far from over. We're not even halfway yet of this 80-lap feature from Daytona. But from what I'm seeing right now out of the Junkyard Jacks, they have had such an abysmal night. It's been so tough for them to get by a lot of these incidents. We'll see if they can finally band together and make a last-ditch effort to keep control of Groovy Hollow. But for right now, everybody else, it seems like they've kept them at bay for the most part.
David Brown will bring us back to the green flag. Presley Sora in second, Gabe Wood in third. JT Poole has reclaimed the fourth position. Bailey Curry in fifth. Drake, McCandless, Olson, Johnson, who was on his lid earlier, and Schildhouse round out our top 10 one-lap car on the inside lane. He will be taken care of momentarily. Back under green at Daytona for the Groovy Hollow 2.
You know, one thing I noticed there, obviously with the single file restarts, Christopher Darling, who had fallen a lap down, he's now on the inside at the front of the field. That's how these 1987 restarts work, is that you have everybody on the lead lap, single file on the outside, all the lap cars go to the inside, and already some of the lead lap drivers not afraid to show their stuff, including Presley Sora. Look at them, 3 wide, as Gabe Wood will punch it through the middle, but Sora takes the lead into turn 3.
Wood is able to slide by and takes control of that outer groove. Meanwhile, JT Poole is making his name known in that green number 62 machine for Forney in that Ford Thunderbird. He's now looking to take the lead. Presley Sora went up to block, and here comes Poole. 3 wide across the stripe.
He's going to block all the way to the top of the racetrack. It looked like Bailey Curry tried to move to the inside 3 wide. Found no momentum. He's going to end up with help on behalf of the 21 of Blake McCandless. They're going to go door to door, though, for the lead out of turn 2. McCandless with a push to Curry. How much will that help them entering turn 3? They may end up ditching the 62. Looks like Poole will block, and Presley Sora holds on to the lead. Here comes Brown at the bottom.
And here comes that Garage Oil Spirits number 21, Monte Carlo, back towards the front of the field. He was leading the way up until our first caution, went and got tires, and now he's beginning to make his return towards that top 5. Only one more spot to go. Brown and Sora, though, continue to duke it out for the lead, and Gabe Wood has no problem shooting the middle at whenever his heart's content.
Oh, and
no, he goes around!
He's going to hit the outside
Caution
wall.
flag.
The caution is going to wave, and there comes everybody else piling in.
Moffitt with a whammy, and the Petty Garage 43 has damage in our other throw back. I don't think Gabe Wood could steer that car, but Matt Alverson in the Threat Wizard number 3 Dale Earnhardt throwback is going to receive some damage too. Yeah, Gabe Wood has no front tires. That looks a lot like the next-gen cars right now do. There's no front tire on that car.
Yeah, that is not a steerable car by any stretch of the imagination. That is going to warrant a fast pair. Oh, no. He's going to beach it there on the grass.
He gets caught mowing the grass.
Yeah, the suspension just dug into the grass on the back straightaway, and Wood comes to a stop. What a tough ending there for Gabe Wood. Look at the move that he makes, though. Got to give him credit for trying. He went to the outside of David Brown, not afraid at all, and then it's just a classic case of these 87 cars, Devin. It just snaps loose, and there's nothing you can really do to save it. And Wood goes around, catches a couple of other cars, and it felt like the wreck was over until everybody else piled in. That was the 43 machine of Thad Moffitt, who came sliding in, lost control of his car as well. And then Gabe Wood with some extra hits. He's got sent to the pit lane, and he is already a lap down, 28th on the running order.
Gabe Wood does still have his fast repair. Listen in. That is just how easy it is to lose control of these cars. It really is incredible. If you haven't driven these before, Thad Moffitt. Okay, 2 points here. Number 1, Thad Moffitt tries to get on the brakes and it sends the rear end out from under him. It makes the car turn a little bit more. When you hit the brakes and you're in a corner, it causes havoc to that car. It is so difficult to avoid incidents in a high bank corner with these machines when you're going at such high speeds. And then in Gabe Wood's case, if you have not led a race at a super speedway, Talladega or Daytona, these 87 cars, one thing that makes a massive difference is if there's a car behind you or not. Is that front grille dug into the grass? He does have a fast repair, but like you said, he will go at least one lap down. There's a difference in how the car feels because they're not sucked up on the ground, right? When a car comes up behind you at these super speedways, it has the ability to lift up the rear end on you. And so you have to be aware how close a car is behind you, how close they are beside you, if there's anyone behind you or not. All three of those different factors can make the cars drive extremely different through the corners. If you have not tried to race for the lead in an 87 car, you just don't understand all the extra little pinpoint accuracy movements you have to make to keep these cars with speed straight through the corners.
And also, when you hop on the brakes in the middle of the corner, going so fast, it seems like the weight transfers a little bit. That car starts to lighten up, and that's why you see a lot of the cars get sideways so easily. It's just because, you know, especially when they're trying to avoid wrecks, they're hopping on the brakes. The momentum shift is so large after they're basically full throttle going into the corner that the car just snaps. And again, there's nothing you could do. You could try your hardest to save it. Colin Fern got saved early on, and he was lucky he got loose out of turn 4 and could catch it with the apron. But in the middle of the banking and the 31 degrees that you find here at Daytona International Speedway, it makes the job so tough to perform accurately. And for a lot of the field, we've seen that struggle all throughout the night.
Everyone back under caution once again. Glad to have you here on the Groovy Hollow 2. Of course, most of you guys probably know Out of the Groove pretty dang well. If you guys want a little bit of merch, be sure to go and head to groovymotorsports.com/shop. Get all of your merch right there in one spot. Has everything from some pretty groovy looking t-shirts. I mean, they got the purple out there. There's multiple different colors of that first ever Out of the Groove sponsored NASCAR machine. That's a really cool t-shirt. Of course, you also have the diecast, the hats, everything that you need at groovymotorsports.com/shop. Well, everyone continues to be under caution. 5 laps to go till our halfway point. Let's bring in John Theodore, who right now is running in the 12th position. Chaos, calamity, I mean, come on, it's a Halloween-themed race. How have you been able to keep this car relatively clean? The ghosts continue to battle us here, as we were unable to hear John Theodore, and they turned off his microphone. Nonetheless, watching that WeatherTech number 37 Buick riding along in the 12th position. And right now on camera, we, of course, have that number 21 Garage Oil Spirits that's piloted by Blake McCandless, who right now is one of the best 87 drivers on the service. He has went from the front to the back to the front to the back, and now will look to go back to the front. But Kenneth, you made a point up front. We have ourselves one of our Junkyard Jacks.
And he's joined by another. Now, obviously, Dash, Anthony Alfredo, is a lap down, so he's not going to be in contention for lead lap position, at least for the moment. But the Junkyard Jacks, at least 2 of them, are together. Gabe Wood is also here as well. He's got his fast repair into the restart zone. Smash, Brennan Poole is going to have control of the field. Can he hold on as we get closer to halfway?
The 16th place finisher of the 2020 Daytona 500, leading the field back to green, the Groovy Hollow 2, and he has his teammate alongside of him, relentless in that 1 lap down machine lane, and this is forcing both him and Malachi Drake to use that outside lane.
Yeah, but also you can use the inside and under the yellow line.
David Brown
will go with Blake McCandless. They're going to go 3 wide into turn 3, and Brown's going to nose ahead for P1.
What yellow line rule? David Brown reclaims the lead just shy of the halfway point with a massive shove from Blake McCandless.
Can you even believe that? Brown going to go to the lead. Fortunately for Smash and company, they've got momentum wound up. Smash, Brennan Poole is going to stay to the outside. He's going to hook up still with the 11, and we'll see what Dash Anthony Alfredo can do. He's going to go sideways in the middle of the field, and around they'll go.
Trouble in 1 and 2 once again. McCandless will hold the lead, and we got a junkyard behind them. Presley Soares caught up in this one as well. And it looks like, unfortunately, again, more issues for Ryan Johnson.
Yeah, so tough for him. I mean, again, a lot of guys getting caught up in these crashes because they're trying to slow down, but really they have either no space or their cars just break loose themselves. And it looked like for Anthony Alfredo, the problems only continue. And the lead, guess what, Devin, will be handed to Blake McCandless in the 21.
Boy, that's a scary thought for the rest of the field. One of the best in the 87s heads up front. He will pilot the field back to green momentarily, pending pit stops. We continually see more drivers slide on into pit road and grab some of those unlimited tire sets. So we will see what they decide to do. Coming to 38 laps down of an 80-lap race, the Groovy Hollow 2. We'll step aside, bring it back. Hey, swag coming up here. Everybody who donated, let's take a look here what you might be winning coming up here on the Out of the Groove Groovy Hollow 2.
Visit Petty's-Garage.com to check out all the parts, engines, and tuning we've got to offer.
Since the Bolt was created centuries ago, people have improvised trying to get them clean, even getting hurt in the process using unsafe methods. Solvents are messy and difficult to dispose. Wire brushes are clumsy. Wire wheel grinders are dangerous, and throwing them away is a waste of money. The answer has arrived in this revolutionary new tool, the Thread Wizard. Made in the USA and designed by an industry veteran, the Thread Wizard is the safest and fastest way to clean dirty bolts, saving you time and money. The handle, blue for metric, red for SAE, is designed to be handheld or clamped in a vise. The Thread Wizard houses a wire wheel of the highest quality. Just match the bolt up with the proper hole, and with the turn of a wrench, ratchet, or power tool, the Thread Wizard removes all grime, dirt, and surface rust. So if you're a pro at work in the field, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, your toolbox is going to need a Thread Wizard. So step into the future and leave old in the past. Learn more at threadwizard.us.
Welcome to Petty's Garage. Every one of our strut bars and coil covers are handmade right here in my hometown, Level Cross, North Carolina. Just like our old race cars, everything that comes out of here is first class. Now, you probably know my favorite color, but we still make these things in every color you can imagine. You've got the power to make your car go and show exactly how you want. Visit Petty's-Garage.com to check out all the parts, engines, and tuning we've got to offer.
All right, I know that all of you donators to our tremendous mark, we are so close to our groovy goal, are waiting for this. It is time to give away some swag. Eric, we got our winners here for the first half of the race.
We sure do, Devin. I'm going to put my goggles on for this one. Let's see here. So I can get a good view. Right now we're sitting at over $11,200 raised. Before we get to our giveaway winners, I have 7 names picked out who are going to win these Out of the Groove, you can probably hear them in my microphone, these Out of the Groove drawstring bags. First, our winner of the paint scheme fan vote, which all of you voted for on groovyhollowraceway.com/cars. The winner with over 5,000 votes is the number 7 sponsored by Victory Consultants. I don't know if we have an image of it we can throw up on screen. Beautiful orange looking race car. I'm not surprised this one won. This was my favorite choice coming into the race with those jack-o'-lantern silhouettes lining the front bumper, the rear, the side. There we go. Look at that, even a full moon, a blood moon on the door of that number 7. That is a mean, spooky looking machine. Congrats to Victory Consultants winning our best paint scheme fan vote. Now, our 7 winners of the Out of the Groove drawstring bags. Oh my God, I'm making a mess over here. Great Scott. Bryce Bailey, Nick Olson, Dalton Kilrow, Michael Mullis, Evan Bosch, Lexi Scheller, and George Belfans Jr. Those are our random lucky winners for this first round of giveaways. So keep an eye on your emails. You should be getting information tonight or early tomorrow morning. And we're going to ship you these things here very, very shortly. Now, coming up, keep donating. We're getting closer and closer to our $12,500 goal. At the end of the race, after the checkered flag, I'll be giving away 3 of these Out of the Groove snapback hats. I don't know if this will fit over my... Oh, that looks so good. Oh, man, I look like a gangster George Washington with this on. This is absolutely outstanding. Back to you, Devin. This is... I'm sure they're about to go green.
Looks tremendous. And on top of that, Eric, as well, for anyone who maybe isn't going to win a bag or maybe even win a hat, which those hats, they're not cheap. I've seen hat prices nowadays. When you guys donate, depending on how much you donate, you will actually also get a discount code as well for somewhere from the Out of the Groove merchandise store. So if you give $15, you will get a $5 discount off of a hat. If you donate $25, you get $5 off of a shirt. If you donate $50, you get $10 off of that die cast. $75 or more, you get a $15 discount for one of the crew shirts that you see right there. So lots of incentives here to buy, not just, of course, having something beforehand, but also having something to have a coupon with as well. Take a look at some of the other great paint schemes that were voted very well as well. You have the 1821 man-made number 21 machine. You also have the number 5 machine that Christopher Tatis Paladine of Pristine Auctions in that Ford Thunderbird. How about across the board, sponsoring this 44 machine with some of the NASCAR colors on there, looking tremendous.
Can't go wrong with that 44.
We got ourselves some really great looks. Not at all. And how about the AE engine number 57, piloted by Seth Eggert tonight? That car looks tremendous. Looks like kind of a Darrell Waltrip throwback with the gradient on there. I'm digging that. And then, I mean, we talked about this already. All South Electrical, someone who sponsors Jeremy Clements in the real world, joining us here in the sim world with one of the contenders, I think it was tonight. One of the ones who could have won. Lawless Allen in his Auto Park at number 25. His real world sponsor as well in ARCA and in trucks. Working out some of that Aardvark font, as some of you painters know it as. How about the 13 car? This looks like one of the classic Ford Thunderbirds for auto repair VIN stickers. It looks like one of those old school 87 Ford Thunderbird looking like cars. And then Brand South Africa, we've seen up front a lot with Gabe Wood. And that car, I love the flag on it. I love the shadows. The roof number as well. Hopefully we'll get another good look at that. Looked really, really cool with the black on it. Bring It On Cleaner. Old school. We have a throwback number at least on there. And it bodes well together with the orange and the blue. Then Don Pablo Coffee. That is a gorgeous car. The coffee cars always look so good somehow. That number 15 machine looks smoking out there with Tim Combs.
Yeah, beautiful paint schemes out on track. But what I will tell you is that the Lawless Allen machine is out in front. He's going to lead us to the green flag. At lap number 43 of 80, he's got David Brown, Blake McCandless to line up the rest of the top 3. And already up to no good, David L. Brown is. He's going to look to the bottom for the lead in turn 1.
Mischief already from Brown, and here comes Blake McCandless as well. 4-lap tire difference. Allen was the only driver not to pit under this most recent halfway caution. Only 38 laps remain for a $500 payday in the Groovy Hollow 2. Now Presley Sora looks to make work. The pair of 21 cars battle it out for second.
And we've seen impressive sword. David Schildhaus worked rather well, Devin, over the course of the first 43 laps. It seems like that really hasn't gone away, the relationship in that case. But David Brown, Blake McCandless are going to keep themselves tightly packed on the high side. Sora is going to maintain momentum down low. And here comes the inside brigade, still even for the lead back to the first corner.
This time Sora gets a good boost here. He will take the lead in 1 and 2. Brown pushes up the track, but he has really been able to have that Core Automotive and jump and carry machine out front for the majority of this race. A little bit of guys losing some grip towards the back, but how about David Schildhaus and that number 14 machine bringing it back out front again?
And he started 5th. He's in 4th right now, looking for 3rd out on the racetrack. He's been one of the most consistent drivers all night long. Here's a look on board a little further back through the pack. I believe this is Nick Olsen in his number 2 machine. Indeed, it is Nick Olsen as he rides along and waits in the ranks to see exactly what happens. By the way, he was at the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series Championship last night at the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte, North Carolina. And look at his sim rig and him right there on the bottom right of your screen as he will make it side by side for position as Schildhaus almost about lost the race car.
The New Yorker trying to push the issue inside the top 5 and now whacks on North Carolina. The UNC Charlotte grad able to put a little bit of pressure here inside the top 5. And you mentioned that he was at the Coke Series Championship. Someone else who's had a very hectic week sitting in 4th in that black number 21, Blake McCandless, the eNASCAR Coke Series reporter, was out at the Hall of Fame yesterday reporting and working the race, jumping back on the sim rig tonight for a chance to win $500 here in the Groovy Hollow 2.
Yeah, but also look at the drivers behind them. You mentioned Nick Olsen, of course, but look at Ricky Harden. Look at Smash, the number 24 machine. And how about Christopher Darling, Devin? He was a lap down earlier in tonight's race. He had slammed the inside wall out of turn 4. And look at him here with a possibility at taking the race lead away if he's got some help. He's rolling P6 outside on the racetrack right now. There's a look at his beautiful number 32 machine riding that very high side with Max Graphics on the side of his, I believe that's Buick LeSabre. He's going to stay up high. Ricky Harden's going to give support to Nick Olsen down low, but the lead has not changed hands, at least convincingly. Schildhaus and Brown still going at it.
First time that we've seen Harden up here so far tonight, but how about Smash putting his name in the conversation? Unfortunately for the Junkyard Jacks, they're not used to this. One of their teammates out of the race, Anthony Alfredo, ran out of fast repairs. His night has come to a conclusion. Now Brennan Poole looks to bring the Junkyard Jacks back to victory lane and continue their triumphant surge.
And look, they just went 3 wide for the lead. And in turn 3, Blake McCandless decided to finally send it underneath the 14 of Schildhaus. He'll make it work. They're about making contact in the arm.
No!
There goes Darling up and over. A blowover out of turn 4. End over end he will go. Caution flag out with 33 laps to go.
The Max Graphics Buick goes for a wild ride. Our first blowover of the night here with these 1987 machines. And oh, so much trouble for Christopher Darling. He gets hooked going down the front straightaway. They were 3 wide and ran out of room.
And look at that. The car catching air. As it caught on the rear end, it just became an airplane and decided to shoot for the full moon here at Daytona. And just look at this, the 32 just caught up in the wrong place, wrong time. Here's a look further on board with Ryan Johnson in the 1. There's David O'Brien up at the front of the field. You see him at the very high side. He's going to be kind of waiting for things to happen, waiting for some draft, or maybe just lagging back in the pack on purpose. And then right here, they're 3 wide. They get too close together, and that's a sight you do not want to see. Yeah, face to face.
You never want to see the eyes of another driver when you're in one of these cars. That means something is wrong.
Oh, man, we saw one car, Devin, in the 1 machine go end over end 1 time in the grass in turn 3. And then we have Darling going up and over with a blowover. Here's a look from Darling. This view isn't going to be pleasant at all. It's going to get rather scary as he rolls the inside. It looks rather okay for now. He backs out of the throttle, just how it is in these 1987 Cup cars, just maintaining in the draft. They go 3 wide, and by the time Darling knows it, he is upside down and flipping over end, coming out of the banking.
And honestly, from what I hear from real-life drivers, I grew up in the sprint car community, and you could ask sprint car drivers, when you go up in the air, it's just silence. And that is very similar to what you heard right there when Darling went up in the air and went off the gas. You hear no other cars. You hear nothing but peacefulness until that car returns back to Earth. Oh, so wicked. I love that. Not for him. He doesn't love that, but I thought it was great. I enjoyed watching it.
Well, it was a spectacle. It was a little spectacle, for sure. Obviously, for Darling, that's definitely not what he wants at all. But, I mean, first blowover of the night. And it unfortunately happens to Darling near the front of the field, who had made such a great recovery up until this point. Now in the final 32 laps, it seems like his race is pretty much over at this point. Devin, I know we talked about some of the beautiful paint schemes here tonight. Why don't we roll through some more? There's a lot of guys in this field that are worth noting, and I know you pointed out this paint scheme in particular, the Fort Worth screen printing number 66, driven by John Garrett. Beautiful car.
I love it. They're one of the real-world NASCAR supporters as well. See them on J.J. Yaley's car quite a bit as well. So always love to see that we have a couple of real-world sponsors helping us out here in the Groovy Hollow, too, and trying to help raise money for a tremendous cause. Next up, boy, this car has been oh so special. The Garage Oil Spirits number 21, Blake McCandless, continues to send a wild ride here. How about the 14, Habana Brisca, David Schildhaus piloting this machine, the popular Twitch streamer, now in North Carolina as well, and he's been giving this ride a run for its money, and that was one of the beautiful cars as well. Iggy Sports Cards has went for a ride numerous times tonight. It has probably been the most chaotic paint scheme of the night across the track. One of our Junkyard Jacks, they've had beautiful matching paint schemes with some colors mixed up in this. That right there was Darian Gilliam's number 66 machine. And then you have another one of our Junkyard Jacks, this one, the Anthony Alfredo, number 13, showing off the yellow and the pink for Dash. And then, of course, you have Smash, Brennan Poole, driving the pink number 24 car. He will be starting second on this restart after pit stops. Wallace Allen leads the way. More drivers went down and pitted. We already talked about the troublesome New Yorker Colin Fern for Brandonville Motorsports. He works for them and right now racing with a fractured tibia and torn meniscus with that Lionel racing machine. Max Graphics just had the shot of the night. Probably not going to win the race, but it looked cool. So, I mean, come on. Come on, that's a win on the night, right? Minuteman Coffee, Nick Olson, who also won a bag? What? So he donated and he's racing? That's a great deal right there. He has himself in the 5th position. National Metering, haven't talked a lot about this yet. You have that number 6 JD Motorsports numeral there for Matt Stolnick. He's driving that Chevy Monte Carlo tonight. Nature's Garden, one of the easiest cars to spot. Bailey Curry has had a beautiful Ford Thunderbird so far this evening. That car is easy to spot no matter where you are. And Performance Distributors driving that number 8 car. Earlier, Eric talked about underneath with some branding, too, underneath the number. And Billy Stanley been giving that car a ride. And, of course, Thad Moff in the Petty's Garage Machine. He's went for some rides as well. Wallace Allen brings the field back to green, and he has Poole directly behind him. How about Ricky Harden now? He's moving to the top 3, but he's under attack from Nick Olson pioneering the outside lane.
Yeah, Olson's also got help here from Blake McCandless in his 21 machine, so this fight will move up to P1, and Lawless Allen had some help there from Smash. They wobbled just a little bit, so to the lead, Nick Olson will go. He'll merge to the inside, and McCandless is left all by his lonesome in turn 3 on the top.
I don't think McCandless is too worried about that. He knows how to get it done up above the cushion here at Daytona. Looking inside the living room of Nick Olson leading the way, but he does not have enough to stop Blake McCandless. 29 laps to go, and McCandless leads the way.
Yeah, McCandless, though, will have a fight back down low. Olson's going to challenge again with help from Lawless Allen, and there's Smash. Brennan Poole, he's going to get loose, and he'll tag the outside wall. He's going to let the whole field by, and the Junkyard Jack will struggle for a moment. The momentum absolutely killed on his number 24 machine as Olson and McCandless continue to do battle.
The Junkyard Jacks are used to bullying the field, but tonight, the field manhandling the legends of Daytona here in 1987. The Junkyard Jacks are struggling, trying to stay afloat here against the rest of these tough competitors. Olson continues to lead the way. Lawless Allen still in the mix. Oh, so close to touching with Blake McCandless, and that will bring David Brown back into the front.
Where did Brown come from? They made contact, they spread across the track, and that was ample space for Brown to take the lead. But guess who's going to come back riveting? McCandless and company got some side-by-side action behind them. Look at the one machine, Ryan Johnson in it as well. He's going to help Allen. He's going to dump Allen going into turn 3 as they're single file first through fourth.
The Bring It On cleaner number 1 of Ryan Johnson has had a wild night tonight, caught up in a couple of incidents, but now he moves himself inside the top 5 as one driver's in the wall, almost hits another car. Somehow, someway, Lawless Allen keeps that car off of everybody else, and we stay green.
Again, Devin, a testament to how tough it is to drive these 1987 cars at full capacity. It is so tough to reach that limit and maintain the car there for Allen. He seems to be struggling a lot here with his race car, and the whole field is taking advantage of it. Meanwhile, up at the front, still single file, McCandless giving the push to David Brown, but the question is, does anyone have a move for him? I'm eyeing David Schildhouse in particular. He's worked well with a couple of the drivers at the front all race long, so can he band some compatriots together and get a move going?
How about Matt Stolnick? He's entered the conversation now as he continues to move forward in that National Meeting Services number 6 machine. One car goes sideways. Tough break here as this car goes around. That's the number 15 machine of Tim Combs. Also caught up in this is Bailey Curry as they go around. We're staying green. That's a look at the incident there as they just get loose coming out of the corner. And unfortunate for that gorgeous-looking Don Pablo coffee machine as they get sideways. But back to the live action. David Brown and Blake McCandless continue to duke it out. Nick Olson, Ricky Harden not too far behind.
And we saw one car go sideways, but it looks like, again, we will stay green with about 25 laps to go. There's a look on board with Brown, and he is absolutely getting hounded by the 21. But look who's made his way up into third and fourth. Nick Olson, Ryan Johnson, both of them working in a tandem together. So we may see 2 versus 2 again on the racetrack. Brown's going to slip up high, and here comes McCandless down low.
Got a good look there right on the bumper and seeing what these guys do. It is oh so dangerous to be bump drafting in these 1987 cars because they get out of whack oh so easily. More trouble behind the leaders as they continue to mix it up out turn number 2. And this front pack has separated themselves from the leaders. This is about the top 8 cars.
Yeah, top 8 seems to be all clustered together. John Theodore, one of the last ones in touch, but then you get to Matt Stolnick in the 6 machine, and he is way out of contention. He's got Brendan Poole smashed behind him. Maybe they can try to potentially get closer to these guys up at the front, but it is going to be oh so hard, especially if this stays green, at least for now. There's a look on board with Matt Stolnick. He's going to get the car super loose. He'll be able to save it, but meanwhile, up front, Blake McCandless has taken control of the lead with Olson to look to challenge.
Oh, trouble! McCandless tries to save it. He's hardened to the wall and collected, and this one has smashed Brendan Poole. As the airplane comes across the back straight away, here comes Colin Fern across the track. And now a little love tap as well, and somehow Fern with a second monumental save tonight.
Bro, how is that possible for Fern? Again, keeps his car alive, but again, they'll spread out, and the field will have no choice but to just try and do what they can to pack themselves an accordion together. There's a look at Fern. He was fighting with David Brown, then got loose, chased it down the 31 degrees of banking, and kept it collected. And now look at the battle for the lead. A big run by Schildhouse and Olson. Can they get to McCandless in enough time?
Through the chaos, Blake McCandless, Nick Olson, and David Schildhouse now sit alone at the top of the leaderboard. They have themselves over 2 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. This time by 22 laps to go for $500 in victory in the Groovy Hollow 2 here at Daytona International Speedway, raising money for Extra Life, a Children's Miracle Network charity. This will continue to go on. We did not have cars wrecking and stopped on the track in front of traffic. It was single car incidents or 2 cars separate from one another. So we're going to continue on, and these drivers continue to take on what is a ridiculous and spooky, ominous track here at Daytona. All drivers of all kinds having trouble here tonight.
Well, you're definitely going to be shaking in your bones if you're everybody fourth on back. David Brown and company are basically out of touch completely with your leaders. Yes, some of them do have drafting help. In the case of Brown, he's got Harden behind him. John Theodore and Ryan Johnson are working together 6th and 7th on the racetrack. But apart from that, nobody else is in sight. Shieldhouse has caught up to the rear end of Blake McCandless, and this is typical 1987 Daytona racing. Not full pack racing, but everybody trying to hold on to their cars for dear life.
This time by just 20 laps to go as Brown gets wicked loose. He will save it, and these cars continue to bob and weave back and forth. And these drivers at what is a monstrous and demonic Daytona continue to go blow for blow with each other and the track. And as we continue to raise money here, we are within $1,000, Eric, of our Groovy goal here tonight. And that means that we are almost raised enough money for our Groovy goal for Extra Life.
Absolutely. We're sitting at 11,661, thanks in large part to a very generous donation from She Rank 244. Really appreciate them. They're in the chat. Also got their name on the page over here. Very generous donation from them and many others who are watching here tonight. With just 20 laps to go, we are in the home stretch not only of this race, but also of reaching our Groovy donation goal, as you just mentioned, Devin.
It feels like tonight the Junkyard Jacks are supposed to be the bad guys. It feels like the field has come and correlated, and they have put it to the Junkyard Jacks, and a new villain has emerged tonight in the Groovy Hollow race. The track itself has been demonic, taking cars one by one here, and it is certainly the survival of the fittest tonight, Kenneth.
Yeah, it's definitely true. We've seen all of these guys outlast one another through all of the wrecks, through the restarts, through the chaotic moves throughout the field. And we are getting down to the final survivors out on the surface. There's a look at David Brown. He is keeping 4th right now. Ryan Johnson has moved up into the top 5. They got by John Theodore, who's holding P6 right now. Colin Fern, the 4th and final car in this quartet, in P7 at the moment. They can try their hardest to catch up to the top 3 in McCandless, Shieldhouse, and Olsen, who are broken away by a couple of seconds. And we are within 18 laps to go from Daytona.
And guys, remember, keep those donations coming. Anyone who gives over $15 will be put into a raffle to win some Out of the Groove hats. We will give away 3 at the conclusion of this race. Now, the race is certainly not over, though. McCandless, Shieldhouse, and Olsen are going to duke themselves out if we do not have another caution. Regardless, though, that second group, Brown, Johnson, Theodore, Fern is still in the mix. When they're not trying to pass each other, Kenneth, they're gaining time on the lead pack. If they can stay together, stop trying to fight one another, can they go and overtake this top 3?
They can, but they also need to somewhat hope that mistakes, number 1, arise out of the top 3, or number 2, that they start to fight each other, which really hasn't happened. Shieldhouse, ever since getting to the rear bumper of McCandless, hasn't tried to make a pass for the lead. Nick Olsen, who has had multiple opportunities on end, lap after lap, he's had opportunities to get to the front and bypass these other 2, but he hasn't. So as long as they stay single file up at the front, well, yes, everybody 4th on back with the strength in numbers can pick up the pace by some stretch of the imagination. It's going to even out at some point if it stays green, because McCandless, Shieldhouse, and Olsen, I think they have this larger plan in mind to get all the way to the end cleanly, and if they stay single file, it may just be a problem for David Brown on back.
To this point, only 18 cars remain on the lead lap, closing out with Tim Combs in the number 15 Don Pablo coffee machine. He himself actually just now is getting around Smash as well, so those 2 are battling for the final spot of the lead lap. And that will actually bring out the caution. Those 2 get together. The last cars on the lead lap, restack them, re-rack them. We're going to have a show for the final 15 laps.
It was Smash, the Junkyard Jack, and Tim Combs, again, involved in the incident. Here's a look at the replay coming into 1 and 2. And I think, Devin, Brendan Poole might have just lost his car all by his lonesome, and Tim Combs was just there and had to check up. His car went sideways as well. There's Smash coming down the track, and bam, into the right side of Combs' machine. And both of them go sideways, but this is really the turning point where the yellow comes out. Look at the leaders. Oh, boy. You cannot get closer than that.
Oh, that's a rough one right there. That is very difficult to handle. And you see just that little blow there is all it took. On board here with McCandless. Take a listen into how they have to react here. They don't. I mean, to go at moving cars at full speed around Daytona in these 87 cars, which do not stop, as we have witnessed so far today, whew, that's a scary, scary, scary look.
And a miraculous circumstance for McCandless, Shieldhouse, Olsen to keep out of it. But the problem is, everybody's going to be on their tail when they get to the green flag with under 15 laps to go. Here's a look at the field coming down pit road, and we turn our attention back to the point, Devin, about tires being a premium. Again, unlimited sets of tires. You can pit as many times as you want. Get fresh tires anytime you need them. And so the whole field, I think general consensus, they're going to go 4 fresh tires all the way to the finish. Maybe the last stop we see, but who knows?
Yeah, we will find out because it is unlimited tire sets. At this point, there are only 16 or 17 cars on the lead lap. So track position is key, but also, this is not your typical modern-day Daytona. This is where you have to have the tire conservation. You have to understand how to control your car. Throttle control is a necessity in a completely different way than what most people witness in modern-day race cars. You can still go through the pack if you're a little bit further back. Track position is still meaningful, but it doesn't mean what it does in today's world. We've seen Blake McCandless go from the front to the back, to the front to the back, to the front to the back, to the front again. That means, I don't want to say anyone can do it because Blake McCandless is arguably one of the best drivers in this 1987 car, but it's more than possible, especially with all of the gremlins that this track has thrown at these drivers today in the spooky and the Groovy Hollow 2. I keep want to say spooky Hollow 2 because this race has been spooky. I mean, good drivers have been getting absolutely whacked by this racetrack. It is spooky.
It tells you that Halloween can scare even the strongest of people. You know, sometimes you think that their shells won't break and they won't start getting a little bit worried. Well, this race certainly has shown that even if you're the Junkyard Jacks and even if you're anyone else, you could still feel the wrath of this dark and ominous Daytona International Speedway. There's a look at the entire speedway in general. Again, we are past midnight in sim. I believe it's roughly 1:30 in the morning Eastern time in sim here in Daytona Beach, Florida. So we are in the witching hour, and it looks like things are only going to get more insane when we get this restart. David Shieldhouse has taken over the lead. McCandless in second, Brown in third. 3 of the best drivers, Devin, that we've seen all night long, and it's going to get intense.
Braden Laster so far has been the hard charger. Started 31st. Right now, he is in the 10th position. That auto repair VIN stickers for Thunderbird. He continues to move forward. Christopher Tate, right now, he's put himself in good track position in that pristine auctions Thunderbird. So they have some pretty good runs right now. JT Poole, we talked about him off and on, but he has now returned to the 7th position in that number 62 44 Thunderbird. So all those guys have been doing quite well. And how about Dalton Kilroe? Haven't talked a lot about that REG Customs number 46 car, but he has the possibility of putting himself in position to fight for a win here. And then you also have the 55 car, the last car on the lead lap in the year 1 number 55. Brandon Ponetto is still in this race as well. I think anyone inside this top 16, the drivers on the lead lap, have opportunities here for them to go out, and if more chaos strikes, to fight for a victory.
And as long as you can keep yourself in the draft, Devin, that's going to be the biggest key to having a shot at winning. Because, yes, if the chaos arises in the front, you still need to be within range. You can't really be so far behind that them getting into a carnage will really help your case all by much, because there's going to be somebody who breaks free of the whole situation, who's going to kind of get out from all of the smoke that billows from all of the cars. So we'll just see, but we've seen some of the strongest guys maintain consistency up front. They've been the best at handling these 1987 cars. And we are ready for the green flag, Devin, with 12 laps to go from Daytona.
David Shieldhouse will lead us back to the green flag with 12 laps to go. McCandless will restart in second. David Brown in third. Olsen fourth. Johnson fifth. Back underway for the Groovy Hollow 2. Will it be the final stretch, or will things get wacky once more?
And what I'm noticing is they are scuffling around the latter half of the top 5. John Theodore, Ryan Johnson, JT Poole all going at it, trying to find some momentum on the inside. Brown all by himself with a lap car. McCandless and Shieldhouse tandeming down the back straightaway with the whole field in tow.
And with this restart, it is official. The field has defeated the reign of the Junkyard Jacks. With 12 laps to go, not a single Junkyard Jack remains on the lead lap or in the race. And they are drivers who have really dominated the drafting of Daytona. And now it is no more. Who will reign supreme tonight here at Daytona? The Groovy Hollow 2, 11 laps to go. Shieldhouse with the point.
And what you really need to do if you're everybody third on back, which was what I'm seeing in a consensus, they're all staying single file. You do not want to fight side by side in the middle of the corners because that's going to bleed off time, and that's only going to make things worse if you really want to catch up to Shieldhouse and McCandless, who have been stuck nose to tail ever since they got close to each other on this last restart, well, maybe the last restart here in this Groovy Hollow 2 from Daytona. So they're going to pack in. David Brown's going to catch some of the draft, but the question is, does he make a move?
That will be the question, and it is a matter of when. Blake McCandless knows oh so well when to make a move and how to make a move. David Brown has been tremendous tonight. JT Poole has been through the field and back as well. And Ryan Johnson clinging on to the final spot inside the top 5 right now. 10 laps to go at Daytona, and we are still within $1,000 of meeting our Groovy goal. It's our final push to raise money and meet our goal, all to benefit Extra Life, a Children's Miracle Network charity, guys. Continue to pump in those donations, and you will receive some coupons depending on how much you donate. And, of course, you are in the drawing for a free hat at the end of tonight's race. But for now, 9 laps to go. The first move is made. David Brown will lead the outside lane.
And Shieldhouse is going to move up to block. They're going to make contact, and I feared that the 14 was going to get loose in the middle of the entire field. Fortunately, he doesn't, and Brown, with help from Poole, will catch up to the outside at the outside of turn number 2. Now bring in Nick Olsen, the 5th car in it, side by side for the lead, and Brown will nose ahead into turn 3.
Brown slides back. Shieldhouse pulses forward. It is Shieldhouse and JT Poole on the top. Or, excuse me, Brown and JT Poole on the top. Shieldhouse and McCandless on the bottom. Still a hungry pack of cars behind them, though. Your top 10 is all by their lonesome. If we do not have a caution, it will be between these 10 drivers to decide who will get the win.
Left car in the middle. Big crash in the banking.
Shieldhouse checked up. McCandless got a piece of him, and some of our top competitors are in a junkyard in turn 2.
So unfortunate for the lead lap cars, all of them getting closer to each other. I was about to mention the momentum Nick Olsen had on his side as they were side by side for the top 4. And Shieldhouse goes slamming into the lap car. He got loose all by himself, chased it down, and there's the carnage.
Carnage, carnage, carnage. Is that the word of the night? So let's run down here who exactly is going to be able to continue running this race, because these cars have been punching bags, and I think all you see here is there's one lap car there, and I don't even know if that was the initial issue there. The lead car went into that corner oh so hot, and boom, it is all over. Guys, look at that Groovy goal. We are right on the edge, Eric. We are almost to our Groovy goal here in the Groovy Hollow 2.
We've had a sudden influx of generosity, gotten us within $300 of hitting that goal. Really appreciate everyone not just tuning in and supporting our great race car drivers and this show tonight, but also supporting Extra Life and Children's Miracle Network. Great Scott, we might get there, Devin.
Boy, what a tremendous feat that would be to have over $12,000 donated to Extra Life. Guys, continuing pumping those in. And remember that there are incentives into doing this. If you donate $15, that will give you $5 off a hat and potential to win a hat at the end of the race. $25 or more gets you $5 off a t-shirt. $50 or more gives you off $10 off of the diecast. $75 or more will get you $15 off one of the crew shirts that will be worn at Championship Weekend in less than 2 weeks at Phoenix Raceway. So a lot of great opportunities for you guys there to get yourself some really cool discounted merch by just donating some money to charity. Oh my gosh, we are so close, within $300 coming to 5 laps to go this time.
I think we can get it, Devin. I think we can get to that goal and maybe even surpass it by the time we get that checkered flag. There's still a lot of time, folks, so if you do want to have those rewards there for the Out of the Groove t-shirt, for the die-cast, and even for the cruise shirt, please, of course, donate to Extra Life, a great foundation for Children's Miracle Network charity. And I think we can get to that goal. We're only $300 shy, roughly there, so I think with the intensity that this race has provided us so far, I think hopefully we can see some of the excitement also come in the form of the Extra Life charity with all the amazing people that have donated over the course of tonight's Groovy Hollow 2. But look at the change in the running order, Devin. I'm looking through the field. David Brown, of course, with the lead. He was able to escape it. Same deal with JT Poole. Same deal with Braden Laster and all those guys. And actually, I'm just going to cut this off because, Eric, we've passed the goal.
1.21 gigawatts. It's $12,504. I hope I'm pronouncing this very generous donator's name correctly. SheRank244 has dropped at least $500 tonight in support of Extra Life and Children's Miracle Network hospitals. Very, very generous. We still have donations coming in, edging us even further and further past that goal. But you saw it. That orange bar, our Groovy donation goal has been met. Thank you all so much for making this possible. Wow. These next 5 laps, now that we're playing with house money, this is just the icing on the cake.
And thank you guys so much for your generosity for a great cause. We really hope that you have enjoyed the show tonight. And it's only going to get wackier. I'm not saying this to, why am I even saying this? I'm going to end up screwing this up. I have to say it, though. Maximum of 3 green-white checkered attempts. I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no.
I said it. I feel like that's information the audience needs to know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I
don't mean to.
I was somewhat scared the whole night, but I think that just scared me the most. I'm not going to lie.
That's the scariest part of this night.
Yes, the green-white
Well, hey, you know what?
checkers.
Actually, I have something scarier for you, Kenneth. Every driver came into tonight with a fast repair. We had 31 drivers start this race. We are down to our final 2 fast repairs tonight. Your leader, David Brown, and 3rd place, Braden Laster, are the only drivers in the field with a fast repair remaining. Everyone else, wreck, and you're done.
And what that's going to do, Devin, is going to add some more uncertainty to all those guys who have already used a fast repair. They may not make as risky of a moves as they maybe would if they still had a fast repair in the bank. For David O'Brown, for Braden Laster, they still got the opportunity to kind of hang it all out there and get involved in a crash and still have that freebie to get a fast race car and a clean one at that. We'll see exactly what happens into the final 4 laps. Pace car's down. Green flag is out.
4 to go in the Groovy Hollow 2 from Daytona. $500 on the line. Back underway. Who will overcome the adversity tonight?
So far, all single file. I see Braden Laster, John Theodore going at it for 3rd. But remember, one thing you don't want to do is let the leaders get too far out in front. That was what we saw earlier on in tonight's race. In that latter half of the run, now they're starting to get chippy around the top 10. Look at the side-by-side move to the inside. Ricky Harden will go for P4.
A big black block on Matthew Stallneck, and on the outside, Laster's going to lose a few positions. Meanwhile, these drivers now begin to go around John Theodore as well. David Brown continues to lead. He has a little bit of a gap here on JT Poole and Ricky Harden.
And now I really want to know what Matt Stallneck, Ricky Harden, and even Nick Olson do here. Look at Stallneck. He's going to peek underneath Harden, but he's going to have no success, no momentum. But they have caught up to the top 2. Brown and Poole may have to look more in that rearview mirror. A wiggle out of Stallneck. Harden looks down low. Look at Schildhaus, 3 wide on the back straightaway.
He'll give a massive push to Matthew Stallneck inside the top 5. John Theodore is not done fighting yet, though. The yellow car on the outside continues to push, and he has to get to the rear bumper of David Brown. This time by 2 laps to go, JT Poole leads the field.
And just when you thought Shieldhouse was out of this race, he's back in it. He gives a tap to Harden, and Harden gets loose. He'll fall back momentum-wise through the top 5. They're 3 wide for third as David Brown and J2 Poole try to race into the back straightaway with 2 laps to go.
3 wide behind them, and around goes one driver. It's Dalton Kilroy, who fought his way back up. His hunt is now over. Shieldhouse gives a bump to Poole. Shooting through the middle, give the lead to David Shieldhouse.
And he may have some help here, Devin, from Matt Stolnick, but he's going to get choke pointed, and he's going to fall back, so he'll stay behind JT Poole for now. Poole will have 3 cars to help him on the very inside. Shieldhouse brings it to the tri-oval, and the white flag in the Groovy Hollow 2 from Daytona.
JT Poole utilizing the inside lane. Can he get around David Shieldhouse and David Brown? He will get past both Davids as a Goliath right now. Still though behind him, here comes Brown. Shieldhouse on the outside, and he will continue to lead.
And now JT Poole's going to fall back. I think he's going to have no help. He's going to try to block Colin Fern. They're going to check up. Poole's going to get loose. He's going to go around sideways, but a save out of the number 62. It's a drag race to the start-finish line at a turn 4.
It's a pair of David Shieldhouse versus Brown. Into the tri-oval. They go door to door. They touch once, but it is over. The end of the Junkyard Jack's reign arrives. David Shieldhouse overcomes the odds, and he is victorious in the Groovy Hollow 2.
And on the restart, he crossed the line in 9th. Makes up 8 spots in the span of roughly 3 or so laps. And David Shieldhouse comes out of absolutely nowhere to win the Groovy Hollow 2. An unbelievable effort by the 14.
And he will take the Habana Brissa number 14 Chevy Monte Carlo into victory lane with a fresh $500, winning here at the end of 80 laps in the Groovy Hollow 2. A race of adversity. The track went out and pounded these guys. The Junkyard Jacks wanted everything that they could to continue their reign of Daytona, but it is no more. David Shieldhouse, the victor of the Groovy Hollow 2 at Daytona.
That's a happy landing in a victory lane for Shieldhouse. And to think that his race might have been completely over when he slammed into that lap car, got loose and chased it down the track, caused what was pretty much our last yellow of the race. And then all of a sudden finds a faster pair and comes all the way back. You know, we talk about Shieldhouse being a driver full of confidence. I think this is only going to further instill it going into Halloween weekend. He's got all the candy and all the marbles. The Groovy Hollow 2 goes to the number 14 of David Shieldhouse. Unbelievable.
And the big story tonight, $12,603.79 will find its way to Extra Life. A tremendous, tremendous groovy goal met here from everyone at Out of the Groove and everything going on with this, all the people behind the scenes. Just a tremendous run here by everyone to put together a great show for a great cause tonight.
Yeah, what an event. I mean, this was more than just the race, Devin, and it was the same thing with the first Groovy Hollow race last October. We have all of the awards, all of the prizes given out to the fans, all the people that helped us get over the hump in that Groovy goal for $12,500 for the Extra Life charity. So a beautiful night put together all around. And it's going to be so fun to hear from all these drivers, including David Shieldhouse at the end, as we get closer to wrapping things up.
Boy, the gremlins continue there as we continue to have the spooky haunts messing with all of our telemetry and our graphics that they've done throughout the night to these drivers as well. But we will run through your finishing order here tonight for the Groovy Hollow 2. A $500 day for David Shieldhouse, who takes the win here at Daytona. Don't worry, $400 for David Brown, who put on a tremendous show here tonight. And a fresh $250 for Matt Stolnick to round out your podium. Nick Olson was up front all night. He will have to sell for a 4th place finish, though. Ricky Harden will bring it home in 5th. John Theodore, your 6th place finisher tonight. Dalton Kilroy, he will come home in 7th after he wasn't up front all night, and then he had an incident during that final stretch. He still gets P7. Colin Fern, with a fractured fibula torn meniscus, will come home in 8th. John Garrett in 9th. JT Poole was contending at the end. He led laps late. He will have to settle for a top 10, Kenneth.
And Brandon Paonetto, after starting 28th in tonight's race, finds a way to move to 11th. Once the checkered flag flies, a beautiful effort out of the 55 tonight. Tim Combs was involved in an incident, I believe, on the back straightaway with the number 24 Brennan Poole, but he rebounds to P12. It'll be 13th for the number 13 car of Brain Lasser. Quite an interesting sight around Halloween weekend. Christopher Tate in the 5 car ends up P14. He is the last driver, by the way, on the lead lap. The first driver 1 lap down is the 25 of Lawless Allen, who finishes 15th. He had the lead at one point throughout tonight's race. So did Gabe Wood in his brand South Africa car. Got to give props to Gabe Wood. All the aggressivity tonight, unfortunately, did not pay off. He finishes 1 lap down in P16. Joseph Kraut in the 7 finishes 17th, 5 laps down. Blake McCandless, unfortunately, got taken out of the race late. He finishes 18th in his 21 machine. 19th would go to the number 1 of Ryan Johnson, who we saw go end over end on the back straightaway entering turn 3 in the grass, and then it'll be P number 20, 18 laps down for the number 3 of Matt Alverson.
Billy Stanley will take home the 21st position, and one of our Junkyard Jacks crashed. Darian Gilliam will take home 22nd. Bailey Curry in 23rd. The 44 across the board Buick of Malachi Drake will finish in 24th. Presley Sora 25th. Christopher Darling 26th. Anthony Alfredo will end the night in P28, another one of our Junkyard Jacks. Thad Moffitt in 28th, Seth Eggert in 29th, Rhett Tucker out the top 30, and our final finisher of the day, Smash Brennan Poole, rounds out our field. Boy, this was ridiculous. It was crazy. It was everything that you would want in a Halloween bash. We will talk to your top 3 podium finishers, but first, what I think all you guys want to hear, Eric, who's taking home some free hats? Got back in the DeLorean. He will be here momentarily, I believe.
He's gone.
I keep messing with this
go.
flux capacitor. I'm sorry. A lot of switches over here. I keep thinking the right switch is going to do the right thing. It's a little crazy. But yes, an outstanding photo finish. We'll talk to our winner in a moment. We have 3 of these Out of the Groove hats that I'm not going to attempt to put on my head to give away. Deborah Cox, Gabriel, who, no last name, but we have the email, and I saw his donation, so he'll be getting an email shortly. And David Bell, who's been in the chat tonight, and actually the last few streams we've done. Those are your 3 lucky winners of Out of the Groove hats. You can expect them shortly. But yes, thank you everyone who donated. We reached our goal. And speaking of reaching goals, we can bring our race winner in here in a moment because he reached the finish line before everyone else. Take these off because I cannot see out of them. I don't understand the point of goggles. Try to fit them over glasses doesn't quite work. But do we have David Shieldhouse in the house? Is he here? Is he ready? Sweet deal. David Shieldhouse, do you got me? I have to mute. Try this again. I'm on channel 2. David Shieldhouse, do you got a copy? David Shieldhouse, do you got a copy here? Sweet deal. There we go. I had to make sure I was unmuted in Discord. Congratulations, David, first and foremost. But secondly, how did you win this race considering you were at the center of the final caution, just got completely cleaned out moments before you drove up through the field? How did this happen? How did you come back from that?
Just, I wanted it. I wanted it. Hollow and the charity work, and I wanted it. I wanted it more than everybody else, I guess. I don't know. I took my quick repair, and I told my chat, I said, we can still win this race. Like, we're not that far back. We're like 12th with 3 laps to go, 4 laps to go. Anything can happen, especially in these cars. And I just started navigating the traffic, and we put ourselves in a spot where I was battling one of the best in the business when it comes to the 1987 cars and David Brown. And that's what I told these guys. After the checkered flag, when you beat David Brown in a 1987 car, you know you've done something special. And so to beat him, that is a big win right there. I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, it was a ton of fun to watch. Take us through sort of your strategy there, the final 2 or 3 laps. You were inside, 3 wide middle to take the lead there coming to the white flag. How did you make that work?
Like Noah Gregson said, I just put him up on the dash and drove it, Like, that's what you got to do with these things. When you got fresh tires, you can really sail it off in there. It's not till about 4 or 5 laps in that it starts getting a little slippery and you can't quite do it. But you got to get aggressive, and, it's a nice wide track, and you got a lot of horsepower, and we're flying, but you got to go where they're not. And I saw my opening. I had to take it. Because if I didn't take it, somebody else would, and I probably wouldn't be sitting in this situation. So you got to get really aggressive, and that's what I told myself coming into this race. I'm sending it. 80 laps, 82 laps, however long it takes, I'm sending it every lap. Try and be up front, put on a good show for the fans, and hopefully they got some entertainment out of this one tonight. That was an awesome scramble to the checkered flag. We kept it mostly clean, and I apologize to Ricky Harden for sort of the bad bump in the tri-oval coming to 2 to go, but when you're coming to 2 to go, you can't lift. It didn't quite work out for him. Glad he saved it. I'll buy him a beer later. But just really happy to capture this checkered flag, man. That was huge. I'm really happy with this.
Yeah, well, it was a ton of fun to watch. And David, it feels like every time we stream any sort of iRacing event on my channel, I feel like we're having a conversation afterwards. So the streak of good results is alive and well. Congratulations on winning Groovy Hollow 2. Awesome show, man. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Eric. And again, a big thank you to the Habana Brisa folks for the car, the paint scheme, and I'm happy to represent them. Big shout out to the community out there that contributed to getting these paint schemes together and putting this all together. Everyone at Out of the Groove, AE Engine. And, of course, big shout out to everyone behind me at Alpha Prime Racing, Market Rebellion, Capital City Hauling, and everybody at twitch.tv/Schildhouse. Put on a hell of a show for the children tonight. They were loving it, going crazy in chat. Really, really happy. Proud to be a winner of the Groovy Hollow 2. We'll see you for the next one next year.
Awesome stuff. Thanks for being a part of it, David. Congratulations. Devin, back to you. Are you with our second place finisher?
Yeah, here. Let's see if we can bring up David Brown here, who had himself quite a tremendous run, because, David, you were up front the whole time. David Schildhouse even talked about when you beat David Brown in an 87 race. You know it's a big deal. You were there at the end. You got to that right rear quarter panel. But what else did you need to cash in on that $500 and the victory in the Groovy Hollow 2?
Honestly, the car was such a handful to drive all day. You saw so many guys getting loose. I got loose myself quite a bit there. And so I just didn't have the confidence in the setup to make a real jerky move either to the left or to the right. And so I just couldn't make the right move I needed to make to get to the inside or outside of David Schildhouse there. He was able to throw the blocks on me, and I mean, he threw some good blocks too there. Nothing I could really do. I finally got to the outside, but it was too little too late.
And of course, these cars are typically difficult to drive in general. Of course, here at Daytona with the air, the speed, it just becomes oh so more troublesome. What do you think was the biggest obstacle to overcome to keep yourself out front for the majority of the night and give yourself that opportunity at the end to be there for the win?
It was a bit of survival. I mean, we saw a lot of cautions in the race. You didn't want to use that fast repair early. You saw a lot of cars that used that fast repair, came back out and got caught up in a second wreck, and they were out of it by lap 40, lap 60. And you got to make it to the end of these things. And so that was one of my big focuses, was I wanted to be ahead of the wreck more than anything. So I was trying to stay up front for the whole race and be ahead of the cars when they got loose and when things went wrong.
Well, you had a tremendous run tonight. You kept yourself up front. You gave that Chlor Automotive and Jump and Carry number 11 machine quite the ride. First of all, just name off who you got to thank for putting on a performance like this. And second of all, give me your favorite part of tonight. I mean, it got chaotic at times.
I don't think I could pick a favorite part about the night. The whole race was it was a fun event, like fairly carefree, laid back, and just a fun time for charity. Really got to thank Gary Sexton for. I reached out to him earlier today about seeing if there were spots open, and he was very communicative with me, made sure I had all the stuff I needed, and it was a very last second registration because I didn't hear about it until 3:30 this afternoon. So got to thank him, and got to thank Blake McCandless for letting me know about it today. So I was able to get the opportunity to run in this.
Well, we are glad that you heard about it and got to run in it, and I'm sure you are very happy, too. Congratulations on the second-place finish and for putting on a show tonight, Dave.
I think that was the important thing right there, is putting on a good show. I tried to make that make that kind of a goal, like not get too aggressive, but at the same time, make a little bit moves and make the broadcast look interesting. And hopefully I did a good job with that. Give
Dave
y'all stuff
Brown.
to talk about.
Yeah, Dave Brown, our second-place finisher tonight at Daytona. And that will bring us to our final driver on the podium tonight. Kenneth Bueno is going to be alongside Matt Stallneck. Ran the back most of the time, but here he is on top of the podium.
Indeed, that is true. The driver of the 6th, the National Metering Services car, ends up on the last step of the podium. Matt, you were P6 when we waved the green flag at around lap number 77. You're third at the crossing of the checkered flag, lap number 80. What went behind that huge run coming to the end?
Well, it was a long night, and man, I felt like I had the speed to run up front, and I felt like I kind of knew what I needed to get out of the car to be in that lead group all race, but got caught behind a couple accidents early in the race, and then you just kind of get caught in that cycle throughout the event where you're trying to, get fresh tires on the car and repair damage, and then you're driving back to the field again. And I felt like I passed more cars than anybody tonight, but was in position on those last couple of restarts to make something happen, and really just felt like I needed another lap or two. Had the tires, the car was clean, I didn't have any damage, and really just kind of about survival tonight. Really, really hard to drive. Guys weren't keeping the cars underneath them, and that's kind of how we saw what we saw. But really fun night overall, and was glad to be a part of it.
Survival, quite possibly the perfect word to describe racing this car at this track with the whole field around you. For you, though, behind the wheel, what seemed to be the biggest challenge? Was it the car itself? Was it just driving in traffic? What seemed to stand out for you the most that you had to overcome over these 80 laps?
Well, I could kind of play the sarcastic answer and say just the other drivers not keeping it straight. I think a lot of guys were just really aggressive and pushing the tires a little bit too hard, and I felt like the guys that were able to kind of back it off going into the turns and knew kind of how to keep the momentum in the race car were able to last a lot longer in the race. But no, I mean, I think in all seriousness, I really think it comes down to just tire management and making sure you don't burn off the right rear, so that you're not unbalanced as you get into the run. 'Cause that was a big thing I kind of noticed, was guys were just losing the balance on their cars because they weren't keeping their tires evenly heated, and you ended up in a situation where they were just sailing it off into turns 3 and turns 1 and losing it in front of the field, and collecting a lot of cars in the process. But outside of that, really fun. This car is so fun to drive, man, and it's fun, to kind of be in a pack racing scenario like that where you have to really handle and really drive the car. So that was a blast. And those last few runs we were able to get some green flag laps in, so that was great too.
Two-part question before we close things off here in this third place finish. Number one, what did you make of this whole Groovy Hollow 2 experience? I know that the race itself was insane, but being a part of this whole Halloween celebration, how did you feel about it? And number two, what are your plans for Halloween? How are you going to get into the Halloween spirit this year?
Well, first off, this was an awesome event. I, applaud, Eric Estep's whole team, Podium, for everything that they did to put this one together. I found out about this about a month ago and was just super pumped. I mean, obviously, you have the charity element, which is incredible. So, money's going to a good cause, and it's really cool to continue to see sim racing be able to give back, and to have enough of a platform to really give back. It's just insane. There's just so much growth happening in this discipline of racing, and events like this really serve the point. I had the broadcast on the TV here. You might be able to see it in the background for the duration of the race, and was checking in and saw there was a ton of viewers watching. And man, Eric just does such an awesome job, and everybody that's involved in the channel and Podium, and it's been a great collaboration between Eric's channel and what you guys are doing here. So continue to be blessed to be part of it and get to participate in these big races. And yeah, for Halloween, I'm gonna be down in South Carolina this weekend visiting some friends. Gonna go to the South Carolina Gamecocks game, which should be a lot of fun, and eat some candy along the way.
It'll be a lot of fun. Some double Matt, though, on the camera. I like it. You on the TV and you in real time at the sim rig. A great third-place finish here in this Groovy Hollow 2 event from the Daytona International Speedway. Matt, thank you so much for taking some time to talk with us. Congratulations on the finish, and go celebrate your Halloween, and be safe.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Devin, Eric, that is
what
Matt
a fun
Stolnick
event.
finishing in P3, and we've got our costumes back on the stage. There you go. I like the helmet. I like the helmet back on, Devin. Let's go.
You got to. I mean, I hope that everyone in this race had their helmet on because, boy, they went for some wild rides tonight, but we were able to see just some tremendous racing, tremendous outcomes, and, of course, being able to raise so much money for Extra Life comes up so, so big.
Yeah, it was a fantastic time. You guys did outstanding. Always great hearing you guys call play-by-play, especially for that dramatic finish there in the closing laps. And Podium, everyone behind the scenes put on a fantastic show. AE Engine organizing this whole event. A lot of work. As Matt said, this has been in the works actually for over a month. Really, it's been in the works since last year. We did this same thing. So hopefully next year's third ever Groovy Hollow, third annual, will be even bigger and better. But a huge thank you to everyone who tuned in and especially everyone who donated. We more than doubled the total money we raised from last year. So hey, if we can do this every single year, man, sky's the limit. Things are going to get crazy here before too long. But really appreciate everyone tuning in, everyone who raced. Great event. It was awesome to be part of it once again.
Kenneth, your final thoughts?
Oh, I don't know. How do I even gather this all together? It was an unbelievable night. So many great drivers putting on the best of shows that we could ever get, especially that finish. What a drive from Schildhaus, putting that all together from 9th to 1st in the final laps. It kind of reminded me of just, like classic Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s carving through the field, plate racing style. But, I mean, this whole event is just outstanding. Even from last year's with the whole Hickory Motor Speedway, the Xfinity cars, having that whole story put together. Erica, we got to thank you for having the creativity to put this all together and, continuing the storyline with the Junkyard Jacks and having the whole field try to beat them out on the racetrack tonight. I mean, it was so much fun. We raised so much money for charity, all the amazing people donating to the Extra Life charity tonight, and I can't wait for October next year, what ideas we have.
Well, guys, it was a tremendous night, some great donations, some great people, and most importantly, some great racing here tonight in the Groovy Hollow 2. Well, that will do it. It was a privilege to have everybody along with us here tonight. For Eric Esep at Out of the Groove, for Gary Sexton and John Steenor at Podium Esports, for everyone at AE Engine and at Extra Life, for producer Gary Sexton, our camera creator Dougie Beard, and of course these two awesome dudes next to me, Kenneth Bueno and Eric Estep. I am Devin Henry. Thank you so much for watching tonight's spectacular broadcast of the Groovy Hollow 2 from Daytona International Speedway. And thank you so much to every single one of you who donated money, from the smallest to the largest. It all meant so much. Thank you guys all for your generosity and for helping contribute to a tremendous cause. And it means so much more than most of you probably even realize. Congratulations to David Schildhaus, the winner of the Groovy Hollow 2 and the conqueror of the Junkyard Jacks.
Now you've seen the last of the Junkyard Jack's reign. You see, after winning at Daytona that night, something happened. Having successfully run the Junkyard Jacks out of town, the race winner evolved into the Halloween machine we fear today.
They still can't touch the Halloween machine in Groovy Hollow.